I am not on King Dodo's side. I do not approve of anything that he is doing. I just imagine that Frey is just like locked in their office with like a trilby on their head, and they just look back at the pin board, and they got like the red yarn going from one guy to the other guy to a DM to a screenshot of a video and then Frey just like looks back at the monitor and goes, Jesus Christ, I'm getting too old for this shit. I did a video a while ago called The Limbus Community is Actually Burning. I like how this is like a serious topic and there's just garbage all over the screen. So there was a YouTuber called King Dodo, and he made a video talking about a document that was going around about a predator, a pedophile, mostly on TikTok, but in the PM Limbus company community. And some people that made the doc, they went to Kamui and Frey and a bunch of other bigger YouTubers and said, hey, can you just talk about this? Can you please just talk about this? And they said basically either nothing, or they specifically said, no, I will not talk about this. How dare you, my good man? And I just want to bring up, it's probably going to be in the nuke that Frey put out. But since that video came out, Kamui did put out a statement, because I am very fair. Oh, Kamui is streaming right now. He put out a statement a while ago. Let's see if he might have taken it down, maybe, or it might still be up. I didn't have this. I had everything else. Kamui actually did put out a statement and basically said that he would have said something about it if it was handled in a better manner, because apparently in the document, if you actually read through the document, you would have seen that what the hell is this? Notice how the Preds are found playing Limbus and never Blue Archive. Okay, well, there will be rage bait in the comments. There will be rage bait in this comment section, apparently. He basically said that in the actual document that everybody was talking about, it didn't really handle the victims correctly, where it almost basically like, or almost like outright just doxed some of the victims. And it shouldn't really have done that. If the document was trying to protect the victims, it probably shouldn't have like given the what do you call it, like giving out information about the victims. It probably should have just only focused on the actual like guy being accused of it. I'm not going to read this whole thing because I assume that Frey is going to go over it in the video, but I guess if you wanted to look at it, you can. One of King Dodo's like main criticisms of Kamui is that Kamui wouldn't talk about it. He has since talked about it, so just wanted to put that out there. Let's go back to this. King Dodo, after we watched that part 2 video, he came out and he said that he was going to be taking down Absolute Pride Residence, the charity. Said he was going to be taking it down because there is nothing good about it at all. So what I thought he meant was like, oh, it's like a charity scam. There's something wrong with it. Like they're killing people behind the scenes. They're holding them down and making them smoke 1 million cigars. Just ridiculous, unrepentable stuff that we're talking about here. He never came out with the video. He just never came out with the video. Pride Month is over. So when you're going after a supposedly evil Pride Month charity during Pride Month, should probably put the video out during Pride Month. But he since came out and said that he's still working on the video and it's apparently going to be 2 hours long. Well, nobody gives a fuck about that, and no one's gonna be watching that because Frey came out with a 3.5 hour video. I didn't think it was going to be 3.5 hours. I thought it was going to be like a 30-minute video or like a 20-minute video or something. Basically just being like, yeah, this King Dodo's an idiot. He's what an asshole, you know? I thought that's what was going to happen. But apparently, Frey took it very seriously and made a 3.5 hour content nuke. And apparently I mentioned in it. Although Lunazi already told me that apparently I'm just called a LARPer or something. Like, apparently it's nothing really big, so I don't know, but let's see.
Please be aware of the content warning on screen before you continue watching. Thank you. Hey, so you're probably wondering what in the world is going on?
We're probably not going to watch this entire video. I don't have really like anything. We're going to probably watch the first hour and a half, and then I might do the other hour and a half as a video, or we might just watch it at like, I might do another stream tomorrow.
Seeing this title and this many content warnings on a video on my channel, that is more than fair, and the short answer is that it's exactly what the title says. There is a harassment campaign in the works towards me, a few friends of mine, and the fundraiser I run, Absolute Pride Resonance. And as mentioned in the content warnings, this does involve matters related to child abuse, doxing, threats on one's life, adult material.
Would it be inappropriate if I sped this up? I feel like I don't know. Should I speed this up?
Including those with depictions of minors and a lot of other serious and unpleasant topics. I'm gonna once again remind y'all, if you're not comfortable with this, do not watch this video. I know it's a bold thing
It's gonna
to say,
take a lot more. It's gonna take a lot more to make me uncomfortable.
Don't say it lightly. Personally, I wish I didn't have to say anything at all, but I happen to be in the best position to shed light on what is going on. As you can see, this video is extremely long. That's because I have to cover 3 years of events that are relevant to it. But after watching the first draft through, I took a long time to get to the point. So to make it easier, I'd like to start off by giving y'all a summary of what the harassment campaign is, who is involved.
I was about to do this myself. Apparently Frey goes after 2 other people that weren't even like mentioned in the document. So Frey is going scorched earth with this.
How I know this and what to keep in mind for the rest of the video. After that, it's all context and evidence for the 2-hour or so runtime. If you want to skip to another part, there are also chapters in the description so that you can easily do that. And also, yeah, Mirror Dungeon in the background. I'm a faceless creator and plan to keep it that way. The idea of having a VTuber model talk at you for that long for something this serious felt just wrong. So
Frey is already based. Like, and by the way, I want to point out that in my video, when Dodo was attacking Frey, saying that Frey's moderators were sweeping and not in trying to keep the drama away from Frey so that Frey wouldn't have to talk about it, I defended Frey and said just because the moderator does something doesn't mean that it's Frey's fault. Like, just because the moderator deletes a comment doesn't mean that Frey told them to delete the comment. So I defended Frey in that video.
So this is the best B-roll I can give you on short notice. Anyway, here's what's up. A couple of weeks ago, a fellow by the name of Sea King Dodo
Oh shit! Oh shit!
started a series of videos about Project Moon creators, one of them including myself and another creator named Kamui Ever. He then, during June of 2026, promised to make a video as a justification to shut down my fundraising campaign, Absolute Pride Resonance, as a follow-up.
The video never came out, and apparently he's still working on it. Dude fumbled this so bad. Like if you actually wanted to take, like, if you're saying there's nothing good at all about a charity, you're implying that it's a scam charity. You should be able to, like, and he claimed he already had the evidence. So how about you just release the evidence and take down the bad charity? Like, it's almost like been like a whole month after he'd said he was going to do this and has not provided any evidence at all.
For anything else, this isn't a 2-hour-long video complaining about someone who doesn't like me.
And I heard some people talking about it. Apparently, there's like one person in the charity that people don't like. That's like the only bad thing about it. And he hasn't released any other evidence, so I'm assuming that he just had like a nothing burger and was like, I'm gonna, oh shit.
Or is criticizing.
I'm just gonna have to pretend like I never said I was gonna put this video out.
The fundraiser I organize. In fact, very little of this video has to do with this Dodo guy himself. If it were just that, I would ignore it, as that's just a part of free speech, and being online is to be criticized at all moments by people you don't know. However, there are several creators that are involved in this project in a manner that changes it from being a video about any real criticism to a video that's intending to
I don't even know who the fuck this is. I don't even know who, like, Frey is like pulling out some guy I've never even heard of and putting him on blast. This is keto, dude.
Accuse another creator of a crime, cover up the harassment an existing creator has made on
another reason that people were critical of, I didn't even know about this guy either. Apparently people were pissed off that Frey and Kamui didn't say anything about Ultranum either, or Sunil. They were pissed off at Sunil too, because apparently like Sunil didn't talk about this guy or anything, so it's all coming out. Nobody knows who that guy is.
People that don't care for Project Moon's material or creators to get involved in harassing more people. I wish I was kidding, but unfortunately, this is the truth. The main 3 other folks supporting this project are the Limbus.
What the hell is that?
People. I wish I was.
I will burn this whole community down before I spend another minute amongst these animals.
Just kidding, but unfortunately.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
This is the truth. The main 3 other folks.
Demiminic is the guy who sent Corn of Blue Archive characters to Dodo's server. Oh, okay.
Supporting this project.
So there's like an inside war. There's a civil war against all of these people. Oh, wow.
Limbus Company ID reviewer Ultranum here, a longtime Project Moon creator G-Chan, and another person who goes by the name Demimnik, who I will call Dem for short. And Dem is the largest contributor of the 4 names I have mentioned for 3 reasons. The first is that he has a history of getting himself and other creators, myself included, involved in any matter of drama. For example, in 2023, Dem's actions led the then main English translator head for Project Moon, Casual Watson, to have his private information revealed to the public. This led to Watson receiving several threats, including death threats, regular harassment, and was a major factor that led him to leaving his job with Project Moon after the fact. Dem has openly admitted that that he did this, and there are several other instances.
So there are people in the Limbus company community that are just as bad as Genshin Impact players. That's just...
Bird up.
Oh no. Oh no.
Contributed to since then. But what's important about his involvement in this video is that he has openly said he feels at home with drama and being at the forefront of it. Again, I am well aware.
Oh, people who usually say that usually burn. Usually burn, dude.
These are bold claims about a person's actions and character. And again, I plan to give evidence for all.
iDubbbz said that he wanted to be rolling around in the shit, and now he's homeless and fucking, or he's broke in Canada. The Quartering said that, and he's been revealed as a scammer, lying about scamming his viewers out of $300,000 for a dropship company, coffee company.
Of this in Demimnic's specific section in the video. The second reason is that Dem was once a contributor to APR and was a part of a social server for people who participated in the event to hang out outside of it. In Dodo's own posts, he mentions that he has chat logs of APR members. This is because of Dem downloading and sharing them with him. And that includes several conversations.
Maybe this was the person they were talking about? Like I said, I heard about there was one bad person in the APR thing, and that was being used to say that, like, the entire thing is bad and needs to be taken down.
That were meant to be private and held by people that were very emotionally vulnerable at the time. Again, and you're gonna hear me repeating points a lot in this video, I don't have an issue with criticism, but Dem's reason for doing this is because he believes that the APR fundraiser should act as a governing body and get involved in any drama that comes up with Project Moon fans on his behalf and according to his beliefs. One example I have of this is related to a Korean modder named Kaigi, who was invited to APR in order to help with a Korean and English PM creator crossover event. This fell through when it came to light that Kaigi had abused a child, which led him to be kicked from the APR server.
Excuse me?
Since then, Dem has listed this as one of his main reasons that myself and other creators in APR are fence-sitters that only care about optics.
Wait, so somebody got removed? Hold on, I gotta watch this again.
The APR fundraiser should act as a governing body and get involved in any drama that comes up with Project Moon fans on his behalf and according to his beliefs. One example I have of this is related to a Korean modder named Kaigi,
Frey is currently asleep, but I'll let them know as soon as they wake up to make... Oh, okay, never mind.
who was invited to APR in order to...
I thought this was like people like conspiring against Frey. Like, we're like, yes, Frey's asleep. Yeah, let's send the inappropriate material.
with a Korean and English PM creator crossover event. This fell through when it came to light that Kaigi had abused a child, which led him to be kicked from the APR server. Since then, Dem has listed this as one of his main reasons that myself and other creators in APR are fence-sitters that only...
So APR removed a predator, and that's evidence that they protect predator? Like, what?
care about optics, and why he believes...
How do you come to that conclusion?
...that we deserve to be slandered and harassed. This brings me to the third reason. A purpose of this video, and a large part of Demimnic's efforts, are to frame another creator of grooming a child. Arkangela is a longtime and prominently transgender Project Moon creator, and Dem is planning to use screenshots of a conversation that Angela had with another openly trans creator, woman, to frame her as a transgender groomer hidden in plain sight. To be clear, everyone in the screenshots you're seeing is an adult, but Dem is intending to use Angela explaining terms from the trans community to woman, who is unfamiliar with them, in order to make her out as a child abuser to the Project Moon community.
This is why I say we don't need Discord. Like, we just don't need it. People spend their whole life on Discord, and like any little slight that people have or any little like disagreement people have, they blow it up into like a new like credo that they use to like destroy people. It's like in regular day life, like if you're walking past somebody and you hear them say like, oh, I like Pepsi instead of Coca-Cola, you're just like, whatever, like I prefer Coke instead of Pepsi, fuck that guy. You say it in your head and then you forget about it 2 seconds later. But people on Discord, they're like, wait a minute, you're trans? Yeah, or it could be the smallest thing, and somebody will make it their life's mission to like ruin your experience on Discord. It's like, this is the internet, sir. Like, you can play a video game, close the app. Like, what are we doing?
Hub Discord server. The plan there is to send the information to a mod that has a bias against both APR and Project Moon creators, Okoto, to then get her banned from the server and give their video attention and discredit APR and the LGBTQ+ movement by proxy. Dem also intends to spread the video to people that already stated they don't like Project Moon or the fans of the material in an effort to...
I don't get his so they banned somebody for abusing a minor, and then Dem turned around and said that they're protecting abusers? Isn't that the opposite of what they did? Didn't they actually address it and kick the person out?
Encourage them to spread it further and gain more attention. I feel the need to say again, yes, this is a real plan, and I will explain...
Clay, don't worry, we won't harass you for your transition, you son of a bitch.
...this more in later chapters. Hi, this is a Frey from about a day before this video goes up, and I want to add right now that I have now found that Akoto has already attempted to reach out to PMCH on this. Thankfully, when I reached out to PMCH before this video came out, they confirmed that while Akoto had informed staff members about the interactions with Archangela and Dem's departure from APR, the staff did not agree to act on his wishes, nor was the staff aware of the extent of the intended action. At the time, this appeared to be a personal affair that they had no business with.
It is true that, like, APR is an actual, like, charity, and charities don't have to have an opinion on something, but like people weren't looking at APR, they were looking at the creators in APR, and they were saying like, hey, if you're gonna make a charity like to help people and promote it in the community, like maybe talk about this guy in the community that's doing bad stuff. But like, yeah, like just painting the entire charity as bad and evil just because there was one bad person in it is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Next off, Ultranum here has, with Dodo's help, harassed another creator, Kamui Ever, by directing people in his server to—
Apparently, King Dodo drew Xylu, but made her white. I'm not unemployed enough for this.
Go into Kamui's and send upsetting images in an effort to run a banned speedrun. I'll keep them censored.
And I think the Chromer is like, she has like Nazi paraphernalia on it.
I don't know what YouTube's line is for any of this, but the two examples—
I'm so dumb. I'm just like so over like Lel edgy that like if I would have seen this, I would just like walked away and just not paid any attention to it. But like apparently some people still think it's funny to just be like, oh, the swastikas, am I right, dude?
Here are the whitewashed version of Xylu, and Chromer wearing the garb of, let's say, a certain hate group that you'd find in the southern United States in the 30s. Again—
oh, it's the KK. It's the other one. Okay, well, I was close.
You can see from these screenshots this—
I never actually saw the— I was just hearing about this stuff in the background. I never actually saw any of the art, and I didn't go out of my way to look for it.
To do a banned speedrun, and that Ultranum directed Dodo to send more images, knowing what was going on. He's also shown that he wants to pester another creator, Meat, quote, every day of the year. And after—
what the fuck? Just pestering Meat with videos about it. What is it?
After doing more research on the topic, I know some folks may have thoughts about this creator Meat interactions, but none of this justifies Ultranum's behavior towards either of these creators. I'm also going to take this chance to say that since myself and folks that are involved in this video are not close to Meat, her actions aren't going to be discussed at length since I can't get nearly as much information on her as the others. Meat is also—
the Meat situation is weird because this is just what I've heard and what I've seen. I've seen Meat do this on their stream. If you call Meat by the wrong pronoun, then Meat will stop whatever she's doing and she'll demand that you give her money for misgendering her. And people think that that's really dumb. Apparently, some people got removed from Meat's Discord server because— oh, hi chat, hi Clay. By the way, YouTube started recommending your videos. That's incredible. Oh, we're gonna be banned in 2 minutes. Thank you, Abyss. Look at that, Abyss. I'll look at this. There we go. Lapland for you right there. Thank you, Abyss. Thank you.
Everyone, get in the car. We're leaving this town now. Ah, what the?
It's a bit. Are you talking about the misgendering thing? Even if it is a bit, it's to outsiders, it just looks like, what the fuck is this person doing? Like, what? Like, you're gonna demand that they give you money? Like, that's weird. But I've also heard that apparently Meat had a Discord server and people were joining it and they were making gay jokes or saying like, I'm a femboy. Like somebody would come by and they'd go, oh, I'm a femboy. And why did I say that? Now it's gonna get clipped out of God damn it. Thank you, Jake. Add scary music to this. Okay, I will. That like somebody was just like making a joke about being a femboy or something, and Meat like flipped out and banned them, and like Meat like apparently like flips out over like really small jokes, like gay jokes, and like people are just like, what the fuck? So apparently King Dodo made a video about Meat and said that Meat was a terrible person, and then Meat doing the one thing that a content creator should never do, Meat did a false copyright takedown on Dodo and removed his video. You never do this as a content creator because the YouTube systems are very easy to manipulate. So every content creator has agreed not to do this because it's just not cool. Like somebody makes a video about you, you're supposed to make a video about them and say your piece and clear your name. You don't have their video taken down and silence them like it's 1984. So people are not entirely happy with Meat. However, I also don't agree with just harassing somebody just because you don't like that they're transgender. Like I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care. I'm not gonna scream at you. I'm not gonna kiss your ass. I'm not gonna fucking do anything. I don't care. Like, nobody cares. I mean, people do care about my sexuality. They call me gay, but I'm not gay. I'm not gay. But yeah, I don't care what anyone does in the privacy of their own home. I don't care what's in their pants. I don't fucking care. So when people go online and they make their entire personality about tearing somebody down just because they don't like their gender or whatever the fuck, I'm not cool with that either.
Also far enough removed from the harassment campaign that I don't think she needs to be discussed nearly as much. However, I do think that anyone that feels like they are being targeted maliciously has a right to speak up. And if someone feels like they are being harassed,
You know, this music already adds to this.
by me, including Ultranum and Dodo, they have a right to say something. That being said, whatever this is the way.
No, I didn't mean I'm bisexual. Like, I don't care. God damn it.
And I plan to prove that Ultranum is not acting in good faith in anything related to me, Kamui Ever, or other matters that will be addressed in his section. In addition, Ultranum was also removed from the APR server for his behavior towards Kamui Ever, and is now assisting the new video by signal boosting it in an attempt to say that he was misrepresented for being removed for this harassment. Now, he has every right to make his own arguments, which I'll show here right now, but once again, in Ultranum's section, I will be proving why these arguments do not hold water, while showing evidence of other irresponsible actions I found when researching him enabling this harassment. Lastly, G-Chan's involvement is simple. He holds a grudge against several APR creators and
Who the fuck is G-Chan? Wait, what? Wait, what the fuck is this username? What the third? There was a second? Oh my, let's get to the bottom of this.
itself, and was stated to have a part in promoting the campaign by making his own video that would go out before the main one on Dodo's channel. This is all related to an incident that happened in 2024 where G-Chan made a video that spread misinformation in a way that caused several creators to receive backlash. To be clear,
Why are y'all
avoid the
like
backlash
this?
if the misinformation weren't in G-Chan's video in the first place. Another creator, Sunil, made a video correcting his mistakes. Despite all messages showing that they came to an amicable agreement at the end,
Yeah, so look at that. So like Sunil made a video about Zet, but because Sunil didn't make a video about some other guy, like Sunil was also thrown into like this deep dark cabal. They're hiding the truth. The truth is out there.
Made a video correcting his mistakes. Despite all messages showing.
By the way, still have no idea what Zet. People said that Zet became like a right-wing grifter or something. But like he doesn't make content anymore, so I think he's done. I don't think anyone
Knowing that they came to an amicable agreement at the end, G-Chan would later say that he believes APR is a den of snakes and is turning his friends against him, and his reasoning for participating in this project is because he believes he is doing justice by slandering other creators that participated in APR and the LGBTQ movement in general. This is in spite of friends of his, like Dem, stating that he needs to let his grudge go. And yes, I acknowledge it is very confusing that Dem and G-Chan are now basically enabling this behavior in 2026. One thing you should take note of is you will find many inconsistencies in how Dem behaves in 2025 to how he is behaving in 2026. Aside from that, I'll admit that while the events of G-Chan's situation are simple, their involvement is going to rely more heavily on his own chapter than others. Beyond these creators, though, there's another group of folks that are involved in this entire mess. But I want to be clear now that I do not think this group is malicious. They are well-intentioned, but misguided. And while I don't believe that anyone in this video deserves to be harassed, I'm taking the most active efforts to make sure that the people in this group are not easy to identify because I recently came to learn that they are all minors. The group I'm talking about is a group of children that attempted to raise awareness of a Project Moon creator on TikTok that goes by PU, and accusations of him being a child abuser.
Yeah, so
I'm going to call this group the PU.
I paused the wrong video. I paused the ambient music. That we talked about that in the King Dodo video. That the document was actually made by a group of minors that were tired of PU going around and basically blackmailing people. Well, blackmailing minors, grooming minors, getting them to create like sexual audio for him and everything. So the minors themselves were like, "This is ridiculous. We got to get this guy out of here. Let's try to get the bigger YouTubers to talk about it." And so when they didn't talk about it and they said, well, listen, we're just doing a charity here. Like the charity is not going to come out and like have a comment collectively about this situation. You could argue that Frey and Kamui could have came out by themselves and said something, but they were doing a charity at the time and they might have felt that it would take attention away from the charity. So I could kind of see why they didn't say something like right when it happened. But yeah. Yep. Can I play the video, please?
Attempted to share with others the PU files. Before we go further, though, I want to remind everyone that while this was not immediately apparent, I have every reason to believe that the folks that ran this effort are children. So outside of information that is already public or that I can be sure cannot be used to identify.
And that's why people thought, and that's why apparently Kamui and Frey were actually like hesitant to talk about the doc, because the doc wasn't a professionally put together document because it was put together by minors, and apparently they didn't censor all the information in it than they should have.
I will be omitting any material that shows their names.
There wasn't any like like nude. By the way, there was nothing nude. There was no like nude anything in the documents. I'm talking about like names and stuff.
Titles, profile pictures, or messages. While I'm taking every action I can to err on the side of caution, you may see sections of this video blurred if I decide to further prevent that risk later. The reason the PU group is important though is because their attempts to out a predator were used as pretense by Dodo, Dem, and the others to create their video, as well as
what the hell?
One that is already out. I think these screenshots of the kids saying they wanted out, as well as Dodo's response to that, speaks for itself. Look, if you're listening on the side, this is a good time to look over at the screen. It's because I learned that a serious matter.
Y'all motherfuckers need to get off of Discord. I'm telling you right, you gotta get off of fucking Discord. You gotta get the fuck off of Discord.
Like child abuse, false.
You can make the argument that people doing this on Discord, they would have done it anywhere else, and it's not Discord's fault that people are fucked up on Discord, but it doesn't help that almost every time people get this caught up in bullshit, it's almost always on Discord. So, like, we don't need to, like, shut down Discord as a whole, but these people need to get the fuck off of Discord. It's not healthy for them. Like, they start believing that, like, like I said, like, any little thing that they disagree with gives them the right to create a, like, ecosystem where they can just go in and, you know, it's just stupid. You don't get to demand people talk about you on the internet. Like, you can make videos about them, you can criticize them, but, like, doing these dumb little ops in the background, it's stupid.
Accusations, serial harassment, and other harmful actions were connected to this effort that I chose to take action. However,
everyone likes to pretend like they're like a secret agent online and like they're a hacker and they're getting to the bottom of it. And it's like, you gotta relax.
I had a significant amount of help even learning about this. Let's talk about how I know all this is going to happen before it's even come to pass. It's because I was given information by a person that is in Dodo's server, which is titled the Refraction Ensemble. This is the main place that the video and
By the way, King Dodo's main, I just love, we gotta go back to this. He drew himself as the red reverb, and he was going to take down APR. At a certain point, you gotta think, like, maybe this dude is just dumb. Why would you dress yourself up as the villain of Library of Ruina when we all know what happens to the villain of Library of Ruina? Like, you're the bad guy. Why would you willingly paint yourself as the fucking bad guy if you're claiming to do something good?
Plan have been discussed. The person who has leaked this information in chats afterward has asked to remain anonymous, and I will respect that. But while I was initially concerned with using this information and breaching privacy, I did a quick search. The server is public.
I was thinking of making a Discord server. Yes, I know. No minors. Free speech.
And after I talked with other creators who are also made aware.
By the way, everybody loves the concept of free speech. But some of the biggest free speech people on YouTube, like the Quartering, doesn't allow free speech. He calls up YouTube and gets your channel removed because you talked bad about him. So it's like anybody that I automatically don't believe somebody when they say that they're a champion of free speech, because it's like, yeah, right. Until we start talking about you. And then it's going to be about, oh, how we can't allow people to say this. We can't let them say this.
What's going on? We agreed that this is the best way to prevent the most harm and that I was in the best position to make
It's free speech when I talk, not when you talk.
Because of all that, this is not just a call-out video. I'm calling out unacceptable behavior, yes, but
free speech for me and not for thee.
I also took the time to understand what allowed this behavior to exist in the first place and found that what I've experienced in the past 3 years of being a Project Moon creator is just, it shouldn't be a
if you have to say you believe in free speech, you definitely don't. It's like when you say you're not gay. God damn it, very fair.
Normal experience for anyone. It's not normal to be exposed so closely to harassment of a game studio employee, or having to reject being pressured to defend to someone who abused a minor, or deal with creators harassing others.
And the problem with these like mobs online is when they get together and they demand that you say something, it just makes that person want to go, no, I won't talk about it. And you, good sir.
Ultimately petty reasons.
So, like, when you get together and you try to, like, it's one thing to be like, hey, I think these guys should say something. It's another thing to, like, sit on Discord for months and years and plot and scheme and poke and prod, which is what these people did. They could have just made a video, like what King Dodo did. He made a video, and then I reacted to it, and I basically was just like, you know, I can kind of see this, I can kind of see that, I can kind of see, well, I don't think, and then you move on. But these people sat on Discord for a year poking and prodding people, and they wonder like why they're not liked.
I'm making this video because I've had enough, and I don't want the creators that have started making Project Moon content in only the past year to deal with what me and my friends have over the past 3. The frustrating part is that in the process of making sure I've understood everything properly, I've found information that I never particularly wanted to know, but may as well bring up since it's relevant. For instance, this image, you can make 3 guesses here on what Dem says he has 300 GB.
Oh, that's not good. That's not
and you would
good,
very likely
dude.
be right. But we'll talk about that more in the Ultranum section. Because of this, I've also made a second video on how a creator can protect themselves from being involved in these situations in the first place, or stop themselves from making problems for them or other creators.
What I don't understand is why they didn't report PU to the police until now. I think, well, the problem is, I said this back in the other video too, like, people on the internet just, I don't know what it is. They seem to have like a responsibility force field where no matter what they do, they don't go to prison. They don't go to jail. If anything, they might have to pay a fine, but they never go to jail. So on the internet, the only justice that you can really have is just calling out the bullshit. Like EDP. Like EDP got caught trying to meet a minor. They don't let this guy have a job. Every time, like, he leaves the internet and then he tries to go get a job, they find where he lives, they call the place, and they say, this guy is a... Don't give him a job. Or he already has the job, and then they get him fired. They don't let him rest. So, like, that's what the internet is. That's what the internet motive, or like I guess modus operandi. Like, that's how the internet handles justice. They don't sit around and wait for like the cops to get involved. They just kind of do their own thing. Being a vigilante is also being a criminal. To a point. To a point. I mean, sometimes the cops just don't do anything. Sometimes the cops have a guy dead to rights, and they just don't do anything.
And if you want a summary of the mantra of this video, it's all in this sign. And be ready, because I'm going to be showing and tapping this sign and repeating many.
And I'm pretty sure that, like, the PU also lives, like, I don't know if he lives in a third world country, but he doesn't live, like, in America or anything. And most places, regardless if it's first world or third world, they probably just hear internet drama and they go, I don't give a fuck. we're not gonna look into it. Like, unless it's a swatting. Like, swatting, they legally have to go and investigate the house. But anything else, they might just be like, it's bullshit. I don't care.
Many other statements related to it throughout this when I feel it's appropriate. But that covers just about all the context. So here are some last notes before we start. Number 1.
And you got Twitter. Twitter calls you a and a rapist and a Trump supporter and a racist no matter what you say. You could say that you didn't like the Assassin's Creed remaster and they'll call you a PDF. So the police probably just, they're like, oh yeah, it's Twitter drama. Let me guess, somebody's a racist. They're really, do we care?
This video is monetized. I've learned from working with a creator that had a similar issue in the past that a video without ads ultimately...
Who the fuck? Who are these people? People just keep getting pulled into this shit.
There's fewer folks on YouTube. So since I'm stopping a misinformation campaign, I want the greatest amount of reach, so yeah, I'm putting ads on it. That's also why I'm gonna go heavier on the censorship than usual, because if I lose the monetization, that's gonna defeat the purpose of trying to spread it. Speaking of which, number 2. The first quarter or so of this video has me speaking in a much more formal manner than usual. That's both because I want to keep this censored and because it's a serious subject matter. But if I can be real for a second, I have not been this angry.
I literally just said PU is Indonesian, which is a third world country, and they don't give 2 shits about internet crime. Well, there you go. Thank you, Riku Color. I didn't see that comment.
For an extended period of time, at any other point I can remember.
I'm called racist on Twitter constantly. Well, if it's constant, Semco, we might have a pro. I don't know. I don't use Twitter.
In my adult life. And I
just watch videos about people losing their fucking minds over the simplest things. Like in Honkai Star Rail, when Tectone said that he was married to Robin and people were fucking losing their mind. So he photoshopped himself with his arm around her and said, this is me and my girlfriend. That was funny. That was the only funny thing that Tectone has ever done.
Significantly less composed when I made the first draft. So a lot of my word choice and tone is coming from me staying formal, but since this video is under a time limit, I sometimes do a bad job of not showing how upset I am, and I just didn't consider that important enough to make retakes under the circumstances. That then brings us to...
Very fair.
I am not a drama channel. I didn't want to spend 2 weeks working on this instead of any Project Moon material like the new Intervalo or the new IDs. I have lost sleep, lost my appetite, maybe even gotten sick, and asked for help from my current part-time job to give me some flexibility so I could finish this in time. This video was an effort made by no fewer than 20 people, and I did not enjoy a single...
I just imagine that Frey is just like locked in their office with like a trilby on their head, and they just look back at the pin board, and they got like the red yarn going from one guy to the other guy to a DM to a screenshot of a video and then Frey just like looks back at the monitor and goes, Jesus Christ, I'm getting too old for this shit.
second event. This is going to be especially relevant in the first 2 chapters, which I'll show on screen with all the others. But if anyone attempts to rope me into a mess like this again, and it doesn't have to do with any of the responsibilities on this sign, do not expect me or any of my staff in my server to respond to you. Once again, I'm making this video because after 3 years, I want to set the record straight and get my peace back. And since I know that some of my private, real-life issues I've shared with Demimnik are likely to come out, I'm probably going to have to make a separate channel update in July talking about what my life has been like for the past 18 months. To be fair, that was already planned beforehand, but now it's both been delayed and all the more necessary before I get back to any of the usual videos, so I guess we'll call that a transitionary period.
I've never sent a DM that I didn't immediately think, like the problem with the internet is if you're talking to one person, you're talking to a million people. So like, I've never sent a DM that I didn't know was going to be seen by like the entire world. Like, you can't expect anybody on the internet to actually keep a DM private.
In any case, that covers just about everything. So
it's like whenever you hear about a girl that like has her like sex tape leaked or something, and she was like, but I didn't know we were gonna break up, like we were in love. It's like, come on, you had to have known.
Further ado, here's the entire story. Part 1.
Unless you had to have known.
View files and overview. Content warning, abuse of minors, and online harassment. While Demimnik and other creators are the main subject of this video, there is a recent incident that has come up.
Clay, you aren't talking to a million people when they send me messages. Wait, what the? My YouTube just crashed. What the hell did you say? I hope my whole chat doesn't just go. Clay, you aren't talking to a million people when you send me messages because they're funny. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't think I've DM'd you in like 7 years.
Has cast some level of doubt on mine and other creators' character and judgment that also happens to be tied to Demimnik's involvement.
No, I didn't say I have a sex tape. God damn it!
With this harassment campaign.
Listen to the words that I'm saying!
They're complicated in its own right, so it will be split into this video's first 2 parts. Part 1 is an overview of the incident itself and addresses some criticism of how I have handled it, which I maintain I have handled in the ethically best manner I could, given the information available at any given time. Part 2 is
and now people are just calling each other gay in the chat.
Fact events of said incident, including what led me to take the actions I took, as well as how this led to Demimnik's harassment campaign. This situation involves a TikTok creator that goes by the name of Piu, who has allegedly been engaged in the exploitation of minors. I say allegedly, as I have not read the full extent of the
I like how we're going over this drama, and Hopper is making a fake drama wiki where he's just updating it with proof that I'm gay.
Nor do I ever intend to, for reasons I will soon explain. And on a topic involving crimes as serious as this, it's important to err on the side of caution instead of risking sharing misinformation. I have, however, reported the incident to the proper authorities, being the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and advised the concerned party that initially...
So there you go. The main argument against Frey... Well, like when people said that Frey wasn't going to talk about it, Frey was having her... I don't know what... I'm just going to say they. I don't know what Frey is. They... that Frey was just having their mods like cover it up and sweep it and didn't want to talk about it. Now you have they have reported it to the authorities.
Out to me about this on how they can do so now and later should they find more information about PU. To clarify, the National
Frey is La Creatura.
Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, is an organization based in the United States, and the alleged crimes are from Indonesia. The NCMEC has specifically stated that they are the appropriate association for handling international child exploitation crimes, including online predators. If you would like more information, I've left a link to their website, tip line, and their 24/7 number in the description. Before anything else, I would recommend that anyone that in the process of attempting...
I like how Frey got called out and Frey was just like, all right, okay. Give me a month. Give me a month and I'll do everything you're asking me to and more. I'll set you all on fire.
This group has downloaded their document, immediately submit it to this association using the tip line in the description. This should go without saying, but while I have been told that there are no explicit images of more than text messages, I heavily suggest you err on the side of caution as well, since it's not common practice for a person to have evidence of this subject matter on their computer. In any case, while I believe that child abuse is an important topic, both myself and the NCMEC representative I spoke on call with believe that leaving that in the hands of content creators with many degrees of separation to the issue and mob justice is one of the most irresponsible ways to handle this, and I am frankly disappointed that I have not seen this organization or any force other than the online court of public opinion be mentioned by any creators that have made content on this topic and claim to care about the well-beings of the victims. I bring this up because one of the largest pieces of criticism made against me and another creator, commonly ever, on this matter is my choice to remain silent on this topic up until this moment, and has been, among other...
I kind of feel bad about my thumbnail now. I kind of feel bad. The thumbnail where it's just like the three, like Kamui and Frey and Dodo in the thumbnail, they're all on fire.
Things called fence-sitting or cowardice. I have enough knowledge about that criticism to understand the nuances of several claims and intend to address them when going over the events in more detail. However, while I believe that creators should absolutely speak on important matters that they are an authority in, I only consider this authority to be limited to the content they release, any harmful actions that take place in their Discord or similar community spaces they manage, the people they associate with, and any other actions the creator directly or...
I don't even know how you, how do you report an online crime in this day and age when you can literally just, put it through AI or anything. Like how they must have some way to tell. I don't know.
Publicly takes outside of their content. No matter how egregious, and especially in cases that are sensitive like this one, do I believe a creator should be expected to respond as an authority if it does not meet any of these criteria. And the situation regarding PU does not meet any of these for me, and it does not meet them for Commonly ever. As such, I heavily considered whether I even wanted to name the accused creator in this video, as again, I do not believe I am an authority on the matter and do not want to risk sharing misinformation. Ultimately though, I've chosen to get involved in this and name PU in this video for 3 reasons. 1. An anonymous person whose experience I trust has reviewed the document and believes that the evidence is indeed incriminating. Do not consider this my vouch for the document to be true, as I will still be using the terms alleged for the reasons I mentioned earlier. But at the very least, I feel like there is a lesser risk of me spreading misinformation than there once was. That context matters because, 2. I would, within the past week of writing this, learn that the creators of this document were not only minors, but were being taken advantage of by those that are associating with Demimnik as a pretense for their harassment campaign. I would also like to point out that since the people organizing this document are minors themselves and cannot consent to their statements being shared on the internet, I will only be displaying evidence from them that was already made public by other creators or spoken in a public Discord server anyone can access. Any statements that come from DMs they have with any party that have not already been made to the public will be censored and paraphrased by me. Please understand this is to protect their privacy. I can't imagine what these kids are going through, and the last thing I want to do is put more—
It's kind of rough, like when you have a situation where a bunch of kids are saying like, hey, we're being abused, like I mean, I guess they can't consent to their story being told by other people, but like you have to listen to what they're saying. Otherwise, how do you do anything?
More pressure on them that is potentially going to follow them for the rest of their life. And the day before I released this video, I have also asked them—
because that was like the thing that I couldn't figure out. Like people were just like, oh well, you shouldn't talk about it because what if it, you know, like shouldn't it only be talked about with the police and shouldn't people on the internet? But it's like it's out there. Like the screenshots are out there. Like you talking about the screenshot doesn't make the screenshot any less real.
Remove any public statements they have made on the matter for a similar reason. As mentioned, I'm speaking on this because I had enough and was upset that children that made a genuine, albeit poorly executed, attempt to out an allegedly harmful creator were being co-opted as a means to harass me, my friends, and my fundraising event. Even without obligation to act, I maintain I have the right to act if I choose, so long as I can handle this responsibly. And now that Demimnik is involved, this is something I have significantly more authority to speak on. After getting this information, I then took only 10 minutes to search for any kind of hotline on this matter, found the NCMEC, and chose to reach out to the creators of the document. Please consider this my statement that while I will be extensively criticizing the actions of these minors, I hold no actual grudge against them. While yes, I did find it inconvenient and frustrating, said criticism is done as a learning experience and is also necessary for context, but these kids just got wrapped up in something that put them in way over their head. And lastly, my third reason. I am naming PU because I know that if I choose not to, several viewers will be hung up on that choice and not willing to listen to me about anything else. And
I feel like that's literally what everybody wanted. Like everybody just wanted them to just say the name, because just getting the information out there is, you know, like I said, we don't want Frey and Kamui to just go there and like kick down the door and put the guy in handcuffs. We literally just wanted them to like say like, oh hey, here's the guy, he's doing this, here's a document, thank you. And then go back to, you know,
instead of dying on the hill that I have no obligation to speak on this, I would rather let that go.
But yeah, like sitting on Discord and poking and prodding them for years because you don't like them is just unacceptable.
In order to focus on the more important topic, as this is how I see myself being able to do the most good and prevent the most harm. I've never met the guy, I don't know anything he's made, and I don't plan on changing that ever. That being said, if I ever see someone using this as a reason to believe that if they harass me or any other creator about a topic enough, they can get said creator to speak on it, I will be tapping this sign. Expect this sign to be tapped at many—
print it out, like you have to like get it made into like a license plate or something so that when you tap on it, it makes an audible like tinny sound and then you put it up on the screen too.
Points later in this video, as it is relevant to Dem's and by proxy his harassment campaign's claims. Now, here are the actual events. Part 2, the PU files and the refraction.
No, not the refraction ensemble.
Abuse of minors, general racism,
oh, everybody's getting it.
And similar phobic behavior, as well as online harassment. In April of 2026, I received a DM from a person I had not previously spoken with containing a document named the PU files. While the image you are seeing on screen is not the same one as the DM I received, it is of a similar subject matter and is also the only one I am certain has been made public.
Yeah, that was the other thing too, is that is to let people know that PU is using multiple accounts, changing their name, they disappear, they come back, so just be on the lookout for them and all that.
The exact image of the DM because again, the privacy of minors comes first. While it is not common for me to receive an allegations document, it is common for me to be cold messaged and asked to get involved in some matter or another because of the platform that I have. Sometimes this is from creators, sometimes this is from fans of my content, sometimes this is simply from fans of Project Moon. Inherently, there is nothing wrong with this. To give a few examples though, this can be anything from popularity contests to video requests to even a promise from a person who runs a 400-person Discord that we're working
General racism, corporal homophobia.
Limbus company anime adaptation and wanted my endorsement. Ultimately, these are rarely anything that are framed as serious.
Am I actually coming up soon? Because I thought I was going to show up in the I thought it was going to show up in the, unfortunately, the King Dodo section, which is the shortest section of the entire fucking video.
Are usually misguided or mismanaged projects. The anime adaptation in particular turned out to be a group of people who consistently only made announcements asking for advertisements or Discord Nitro boosts for their server, had only voice actors as staff with no storyboards, animators, or producers at the time I was in there, and made no signs of any progress over the 3 weeks I observed them. I do not have screenshots of this as I am no longer in the server and did not consider it important to get at the time. However, I do have a screenshot of my last interaction with the organizer where I calmly explained why I would not participate, and this was the reply. I say this to drive home
I've
that
seen
after
enough.
7 months of being reached out this way on topics anywhere from casual to, in their eyes, serious reasons, I am skeptical of anything that comes into my DMs by default and have considered turning them off entirely several times. However, the behavior and accusations made in the DM where I received the PU files was incredibly serious, as it is about a creator, again, allegedly serially abusing minors. Because of this, I decided to at least open the document to make sure I understood.
I think Lunasi told me that I'm in the video, but Frey just called me like a drama slop, like LARPer. So
what was happening.
there's way worse things you can be called. So if that's true, I'll take it.
On reading it, though, I found there were many flaws with the document in the form that I had received it. The document contains sensitive information on
He came to meet a 13-year-old girl.
vulnerable. Some of the document was framed in an entirely inappropriate way using
Wait, Jadeon? This is not the same Jadeon.
behind those encouraging others to share it put into question the intentions they claim to have. You can see this screenshot in my Discord server as evidence that they seem to care more about sharing and spreading the information than protecting those vulnerable. Again, I have no grudge against the document with what I now know, but at the time, I was already skeptical of any DMs, was told this was a more serious subject matter than anything anyone had me on, and then was met with a document that did not at all match the tact considering the severity of the matter that I would reasonably assume was created by an adult. Because of this, my greatest interpretation of what I had received was a cruel attempt to send a smear campaign, or at the very best case, a severely misguided attempt by involving people who had no authority to speak on the matter. We'll start by discussing the clearest flaw. The information about the people who were most vulnerable was present in the document, including names of the involved minors. Regardless of anything else, the simple fact of the matter is that any document that claims to be made with the intent of protecting abuse victims, especially minors, should be made by omitting their names and images relevant to where they live. Because such information was included and risked these minors being found by people that had malicious intent, I decided, as a creator with a following of over 60,000 people, due to the law of large numbers, my signal boosting this document would drastically increase the likelihood that someone who wanted to be a bad actor with this information would make use of it and cause further harm to the victims with the provided names and images. For obvious reasons, I will not be sharing those. However,
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that because I was just like, well, if they're in the document, like they're probably like okay with their information being out there because it was already doxed and leaked by PU. So I didn't even think that would even be a problem. I was just like, oh, they probably already know that their information is out there, and like they're willing to put themselves out there to put this guy behind bars. Like, so I didn't even think about that. But
responsible handling of sensitive information is only the first reason I chose to not share this. The second is that the document itself and those that created it handled themselves in an extremely unserious manner. The entirety of the first page of the PU files in the form I received it consisted of a meme that I'll just try to recreate here on screen, stating worse than Ultranum, nor do I intend in this video to accuse Ultranum here of being a child abuser. At the same time, though, I do have evidence that confirms he is lax in his server about sharing explicit images on fictional characters.
what the? Oh no.
As minors. I will again clarify that is significantly different from the felony of real world.
How are you going to be posting this shit on Discord and act like you're the good guy? Are you kidding me?
On fictional characters depicted as minors. I will again clarify that is significantly different from the felony of real-world child abuse. However, that fact is also relevant to this video, and frankly, I think it's fair for myself or anyone else to say they are uncomfortable with either. Again, Ultranum here will be discussed more later. In either case, starting your serious Google Doc with a meme is a very good way to remove all sense of professionalism from it and get me to believe
Frey really is just lighting everybody the up right now.
That what you were talking about is not real and that I should not talk to you. And while this meme was removed later, this was only after one of the creators who agreed to share it had to go to great lengths and ultimately regretted their choice to get involved in the first place. I will be sharing statements from that creator's suit, but I'd like to state at this time that A, I do not condone harassing of any of the creators named in this video, including Demimnik, Ultranum, and G-Chan, and B, I do not hold grudges against any creator that got involved with this simply wanting to help children and did not slander others in the process. Quite the opposite, in fact. For more information, here's a discussion I had with one of the creators that agreed to get involved in the project, Picklebloom. Hey, before we get into the interview, I just want to let you know that what Picklebloom has to say involves a disagreement between two creators that aren't really connected to this at all. So because of that, and because the matter itself was sorted out in a way I think was responsible later, I'm going to censor the names of both those creators. They don't need to be dragged into this. All right, that's it. Now into Picklebloom.
I am Picklebloom. I make Limbus company videos mostly.
So the reason I'm talking with you today is because I understand that you are...
The speed of the talking just went through the roof. We might have to go back down to times 1 speed.
Are not only one of the people that were recruited in order to address the PU document, but also you were one of the people that agreed to help, and you have thoughts that you wanted to share on how that experience went, right?
Basically, yeah.
So can you tell me, like, what led you to want to get involved in the first place?
I mean, honestly, it was mostly just that I wanted to help spread awareness about a predator in the community. That was basically it. It was just on impulse almost.
Okay.
I wanted to help and be a good person.
No, that makes sense. It's like you have a good Samaritan impulse, so it is hard to, like, if you hear something terrible is going on, it is very easy to think, oh shit, something has to happen, right?
Yeah.
So as far as I understand, there is a Discord server that all people are invited to. I know I got a link to that. I know, like, Combo got a link to that. I take it that you also joined it, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So once you were in the Discord server, what was that like? Because my understanding is that you originally agreed to help out, but then, like, you eventually took the post you agreed to make down. So, like, I want to understand the series of events that led there.
So when I first joined, I noticed it was quite casual, but they had several chats that had like slander about creators, and also there was also some stuff with misgendering on purpose, which then turned the chat a little bit transphobic. So I had to correct them on stuff like that, which made me quite uncomfortable. And after that, I left the server and just asked them to give me a document when it was finished, so I could just spread awareness and find common ground in exposing a predator.
I see. So, like, there was a lot of stuff that happened. They seemed to listen to you, which does sound good, but it was
they were quite over enthusiastic, I might add.
Okay, you know what? Better than aggressive. But yeah, I take it, like, later on, I also found out that, oh, these are kids. So, like, was this like around the time where you started to think something similar, like, oh, these aren't adults handling this?
Yeah, it was getting quite messy in there as well, and like they were like sending like AI tung sahur memes and pinging me in them and stuff, and I was like, oh, yeah, these are
Not
children.
the tung
So
sahur.
you left the server, you asked for when the doc was ready, and then what happened?
Honestly, because I was kind of just like done with it, I just threw the doc out there, and then I just posted it on my YouTube as a YouTube post, and then after a while, I got some comments asking about Ultranum, and honest to God, I want to say I have no clue who Ultranum was at all, and as a result, I saw the meme.
This really backfired on them.
But honestly, there was nothing else to say.
This really backfired on Dodo and his whole ensemble, because they were like, "Oh, we're gonna burn down these big creators. Listen, they're not doing the right thing." And Frey just turned around and just was like, I'm gonna investigate every single one of you bastards. It's all coming to light.
From rumors, so I just took the doc down and asked them to remove the image, which took, and after like 8 hours, I just took the document down from the post, got contact, and just like kept the post up about exposing PU because, you know, I felt like that was appropriate. After a while, the PU group contacted one of my mods, and they tried to explain that Ultranum, or they like tried to make me believe the rumors on Ultranum, but honestly, me and my mods weren't having it, so my mod asked them to just take the image down, which they did, so then I put the document back up. I got some comments about like a group chat taking down evidence and stuff. It was incredibly messy. After that, and also after learning that the document had sensitive information, the document has just been removed from the post entirely, but the post about PU has just been up.
Okay. Right, so basically, throughout all of this, it sounds like there was like one concern after another just trying to make sure the information on this doc stayed consistent, and is it safe to say that when you tried to like get them to change anything about it, that like it just didn't seem like it was going too well? Yeah,
well, when I asked them to remove the Ultranum image, it took a while, and like even after I asked them and they said they would do it, they just didn't want to do it, and they tried convincing me and my mods that Ultranum was like, you know, a lolicon and stuff.
Right.
They weren't really willing to cooperate unless we like were very, very, you know, they were really persistent. Yeah.
Okay.
But they did end up listening, I do want to say.
Right.
So
Right, they did end up listening. That is,
yes.
I have seen a version of the document when I needed to do like a bit of research for this video. I can confirm the image did get taken down, so like that did happen. That clears up a lot. And I guess one final question: did anyone ever talk about like bringing this to any kind of like authority or group? You know, like before we got on this call, you told me like there was an intent to bring them to the authorities. Was there like ever any specific organization called? Like to my knowledge, like something like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children was what I found to be the one that is the most reliable. Was there anything with a name? I guess is what I'm asking.
No, all I saw some people talking about it, but all I saw was like sending evidence to the police. No specific organization or anything.
Okay. Before any of this, did you hear about any organization that was meant to deal with this kind of thing?
It wouldn't really do anything because the police are just going to be like, well, it's just a bunch of people calling each other racist on Twitter. Like, we don't give a fuck.
Meant to deal with, like, other than the general police, how to deal with cases of exploited minors?
No, I personally didn't know any organization myself, and the people in the server also weren't talking about any specific organization aside from the police.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for giving the information. I personally want to say, like, hey, as far as I'm concerned, you tried doing your best to help them. Again, I
like how as we get through this nuke, people are going over to the fake Clay is gay wiki and just filling it out with even more nonsense.
Have a hard time being too hard on them, because if you are like a minor and you are in this situation, you don't really know what to do. But yeah, this clearly wasn't it, and creators clearly weren't the people to go to about it.
So I also want to add, I just don't have any experience with Google Docs at all, so I could have handled it differently, but I just didn't have any experience, but I definitely learned from this.
Right. I'm sorry you had to learn from it in this way, because like as far as I'm concerned, you were someone that wanted to do the right thing, and you were basically put in a position where it was very hard to even know how to do that.
Yeah, it was messy.
Thank you again.
Of course.
After receiving the initial message, I chose not to respond after seeing the first few pages of information and already doubting it. Then days later, people that were a part of this group spreading the document joined my Discord server. Other than than just generally acting like the kind of people that would not be a good fit in my server regardless, they made a statement in there that their goal was to get 100 creators to share this document in a matter of 2 weeks. Now, speaking as someone who has had to make a Google document about a bad actor and sex pest before, when you are trying to share this information, you do so by ensuring that those that could retaliate against you or those vulnerable have the minimum possible chance of doing so. And not only does speaking in a public forum about your goal to share this with 100 people with
I think the most shocking thing about this entire 3-hour video is the fact that Frey is not win rating.
Followings already draw attention, but that goal itself is extremely overkill for what is necessary to make those close to the creator and victims aware of this behavior. To call a spade for a moment, this and the previous information led me to reasonably believe that the people sharing this document either did not have any consideration for any abused minors, or simply created this as a game to instead use the idea of a traumatic experience to manipulate and coerce others. And this was my stance on them until, again, recently receiving information that not only were they minors that were making a poorly executed effort, but that they were manipulated as well by the people making this harassment campaign. While I have more information that reinforces that
mainly these two
stance, I believe I've sufficiently made my point. Instead, I'm going to end off this point by talking about how one of their members spoke to my own mod, as the screenshots related to this have gone around in the past.
Like, if Dodo is such like a great guy, why is he associating himself with a guy that is drawing naked blue archive characters?
Last week's. Now, in this instance, I'm making an exception and keeping the name and profile picture of the person that spoke with them up. While this person is indeed a minor, the reason I am not hiding their name is because A, they have changed it several times since this conversation and it is no longer a clear identifier, and B, their name and profile picture are relevant to the message as it is someone role-playing the character Callisto from Limbus Company attempting to convince my moderator to convince me to share the document and vaguely threatening my reputation in the process.
And by the way, I defended Frey during this in the video. I said just because the moderator was the accusation was that the moderator was helping Frey sweep up the story so that Frey wouldn't have to talk about it and hurt Frey's reputation. But I said even if the moderator was doing that, there's no proof that Frey told the moderator to do that. So
that's before my own mod tells them
Clay, Frey does not need your defense. I don't give a fuck. I said this shit.
That this is not constructive at all. Here are additional screenshots of the interaction after the person changed their profile picture and name, meaning I am now censoring them, and how my moderator essentially told them to please remove a short.
Why the fuck is Saul Goodman? Why the fuck does Saul Goodman get pulled into this trash? This ridiculous.
Slandering me for my choice and clarified when falsely accused that we have not ever gone after them. Once again, this is for context as a learning experience for anyone that wants to handle a situation as serious as child abuse. I spoke with this person as well, and again, hold no grudges against
Alden Fowler is here.
Anyone, and instead consider watching my guide, which considers how to responsibly make Google Docs as well. While we're at it, my request to not harass anyone isn't even a statement I make to cover my own ass. There is a section later where we'll discuss several examples on why that is a bad idea, period. For now though, let's address the last reason why I did not respond, as it's quite important for any creator to know for their own sake. Throughout conversations on this topic,
as the situation unfolds, the Clay gay wiki is unfolding.
We not take any action in this matter.
The Clay is gay situation is crazy.
Called responsible simply because this is an effort about cleaning up a problematic member of the community. Now, I think that the reasons given up to now are enough to refute that, but even if we assume that none of those applied here, there is a single reason that myself and many other creators should not get involved. We simply do not have the authority or means to handle this subject matter responsibly. Going back to the sign, while several creators were named as being relevant to the document, most of them were creators I had never heard the names of before. The only person whose name I did recognize was Commonly Ever, who I promptly reached out to. He then shared information about his exchange with the person that approached him and clarified he will not be getting involved. Seeing this, I had effectively no point of reference of someone familiar with or trustworthy on this subject matter, and should I have gotten involved, would have been vouching for a stranger. Now, I can understand the argument that if there is clear evidence about someone's behavior, that you should do your due diligence and spread it if it is irrefutable and safe to do so. Unfortunately, I can say from personal experience that it is not that simple, and will be elaborating on it when discussing Demimic's past actions. For the moment though, my challenge to that rationale is this: how often do you see someone directly creating or advocating for any Google Doc or similar statement that is not either a drama YouTuber nor associated with anyone that is relevant to the incident or document? Again, relevant to the second video, but there is a clear—
Well, Lunasi wasn't a drama creator and he talked about it, so you're just destroyed with facts and logic.
With Google Docs, that someone who is getting as involved as much as me and others were being asked to would at least know or be close to some of the parties. Just to name a few examples, accusations against a VTuber named Cinder were discussed by her partner, and her coworkers.
When Lunasi asked me about this, when he asked me to talk about the document, he was like, oh, we should work together to get all the bad people out of the community. And I was just like, and they said that they were working on something else, not Lunasi, but the people that were working on the PU document, they were also trying to work on a document for somebody else. And Lunasi said, I hope that they go after all the bad people in the community. And I was just like, oh, Skrunkly Dragon, are they doing something about him? And Lunasi was like, who? And I was like, Skrunkly Dragon, the guy that made the tier list on which Sinnerlings were the most fuckable. And then he was like, he did what? And I sent him the screenshot. And he was just like, yeah, these people need to fuck hard.
Yaki Kurisu was a VTuber in a friend group generally surrounding the creator Alpharad, who was called out by those that lived and worked for her, not someone who had never spoken with her. Illuminati and Sad Milk were a creator and content group respectively that included said creator
Illuminati mentioned. Oh my god.
and discussed accusations that the former made to many members of the group after they stopped working together. If you're going to get involved in contributing to a quote-unquote drama, have something to say that actually contributes to the conversation at a minimum. And as someone that is not familiar with anyone directly involved in this, never was approached by anyone who claimed to directly know the victims to me or my mods, and has no experience as a police officer, social worker, lawyer, or any other relevant vocation, I have nothing I could possibly contribute to this conversation with the given information at the time other than yep, they're right about everything, I vouch. And when taking into account all the unprofessionalism behind the organization of the doc,
Semka, I get that that's a joke, but maybe don't make that joke ever again.
you can imagine why I felt apprehensive about sharing or even responding to something that did not involve me whatsoever. And even if you are not familiar with the examples that I spoke of earlier, don't worry, I have previously made a similar call-out post of another user who went by the name Moonabite that was sexually harassing content creators and editors, specifically those who I knew and those that were comfortable talking with me about this. I will provide that document in the description, as it is something that myself, Sunil, and one of the—
See, people said that Sunil doesn't talk about this either, but there's Sunil signal boosting a document. I don't know where this Sunil doesn't say anything came. People were calling him Sunil not Netanyahu at one point. I saw a comment saying that, and I was just like, what the fuck did Sunil do? I don't get why people were pissed off about Sunil in this.
those that were comfortable talking with me about this. I will provide that document in the description, as it is something that myself, Sunil, and one of the victims of these actions worked jointly on. Never in the history of YouTube has it been a precedent, nor is it a responsible one to start making, to say that people who spend their time making entertainment, essays, or similar matter about video games have the authority and obligation to get involved in any matter that does not fall under their previously mentioned jurisdiction.
This is like when people go and they're like, they demand that, like, the top female streamer of Twitch needs to give their opinion on the latest thing in politics. Like, who gives a fuck what they think anyway? And God forbid they don't agree with you and they start signal boosting the other fucking side of politics. Like, do you really want to push them into politics? And then it's like Asmongold. Like, once Asmongold realized that he could just print money talking about the same thing every single day, he never stopped. Do you really want to push people into politics? Because once you push them into politics, they can't get out. They have to lean into it more and more and more and more and more and say crazier and crazier shit just to keep the money going.
And I support calling out bad behavior from people who are able to assess it and in the position to do so. But after hearing several arguments to my face stating otherwise, I feel the need to mention
Add what to the wiki? What did I say?
that saying a creator is in that jurisdiction because they also make Project Moon content is like saying two unemployed people would know each other just because they are both unemployed. There is no
well, statistically, they're spending time on Discord. They're probably getting the same server.
to believe we would know each other or have any level of familiarity. Inversely, 90% of Project Moon fans, certainly more, have no idea who I, Frey Chikama, or any individual other YouTuber or creator are. But the people that do know who I am are those that watch my videos, come to my streams, see my YouTube, Twitter, and Blue Sky posts, and spend time in my server. These, as well as my personal actions outside of content, are the areas I both have control over the content and foster a culture of behavior. And if these actions cause real harm to some people by, say, spreading misinformation, then I believe me and any other creator that do so should indeed be held accountable to it. On that note, I've actually updated my own Discord server in a manner that gives it several of the same safety measures as the nearly 100,000 member Limbus company server, and have info on how you can do that in the second video as well as how any creator can—
I can help you fix your Discord server. Delete it.
manage controversy that is likely to come up in their own communities in a responsible manner. I would hope that any creator that has raised concerns over the safety of those that enjoy Project Moon would take the time to watch it and implement it in their own spaces. Clearly, anyone making videos about— Those that enjoy Project Moon would take the time to watch it and implement it in their own spaces. Clearly, anyone making videos about people being unsafe would not hesitate to. That all said,
I was mentioned.
I believe this clears up the events that took place from the PU Files group from April to May of 20—
That was the only mention. That was probably the only mention. It was just a fucking thumbnail.
6 and my stance on it. After this, several creators offered to assist the organizer of the PU Files in signal boosting their cause, in part by attempting to frame mine and Kamo Weber's deliberate choice to not get involved due to only seeing negative effects as behavior that needed correcting. The two that are most relevant to the topic at hand are users that go by the name CLAYMANYO, also called CNC on YouTube, and C King Dodo. Full name Communist King Dodo. CLAYMANYO, to my knowledge—
I don't want people to think that I was actually like on King Dodo's side and trying to like if the charity was actually a scam, then yeah, I obviously I would want to see a scam charity go down. But if there's nothing wrong with it, then there's nothing wrong with it. And that's what I said back in the video. I said that if King Dodo is actually trying to shut down a fake what do you call it? Scam charity, then yeah, like, let's go. But if he's literally sitting on Discord and just trying to like hurt a gay charity because he doesn't like gay people, then that's fucking bullshit.
Is not terribly relevant to much of the subject matter other than speaking on it with the creator of the document. This is not a creator that is part of the harassment campaign, though he has expressed interest in reviewing the videos and content of the creator that is and his content that is related to the campaign. In other words, he's closer to having been a fan rather than someone contributing to it. That being said, while I think CLAYMANYO's statements are misguided and do not hold up to what I have stated up to now, the only reason I bring them up is to reiterate this. Neither of these creators makes any mention of contacting any authority outside of internet mob justice. How exactly did we get to a point where the person who
Well, in my defense, I wasn't talking about doing that. I wasn't saying like, hey, why didn't they call the police? Why didn't my chatters were? The chatters were saying like, well, why did they make a video? Is that Uzi? Is that Uzi, dude? Uzi? Oh my god, just when the world forgot about him, he came back. Oh my, somehow Uzi survived. Uzi? Oh my god. Name spoken, legacy made. What do you mean pregnant? Who said, damn it, Svenjala. Oh, thank you, Uzi.
Yes! Yes!
Don't forget us when you become mainstream. That'll never happen. Thank you, Riku Color.
Everyone, get in the car! We're leaving this town now! Ah, what the?
So, like, in that video, I wasn't saying, like, oh, why aren't Kamui and Frey, why aren't they? I actually said the opposite. I said we don't want Frey and Kamui to just... Did the creepy music just stop playing? Oh, no, it's still there. I said we don't want them to like personally go there and put these people in handcuffs. I didn't like say like, oh, I'm calling the police and you should too. Like, I never said any of that. I was just saying like, hey, like we were asked to say something about it and a lot of people said stuff about it and you guys didn't, and that's all. And I said maybe they should have said something about it because you got to get the word out somehow.
wanted to help, wasn't willing to do a simple Google search to find out how to contact the authorities, and then chose to use social media peer pressure that is not even making the abuser as the primary focus, and instead creators who were minding their own business. Why did the person...
And I said that too. I said that because they didn't say anything about it, the story became how they didn't say anything about it instead of the person actually doing something about it. And I said that's why you should say something about it. Now let me say that again. If a guy is accused of a crime and you have evidence and you know the name that he goes by, the least you could do is just say, hey, the guy's over there, stay away from him. Like, they're trying to, you know, bring him to justice, but like he keeps changing his name and this is what, this is who he hangs out around. Like, maybe just don't talk about them. Like, maybe you stay away from him. Just get the message out there. That's all I was saying. That's all I was saying. Frey isn't calling you out. He's saying you weren't related to the situation. No, I get that. I get that. I have to get my own. I gotta protect myself.
That an entire Google search from someone closer to this matter than me would have addressed this in a much less messy way. Frustrations aside, I am not here to make accusations against CLAYMANYO at this time. I'm just stating this as another example as to why expecting creators to handle these matters is a bad idea. However, King Dodo is another story, as he is right there with creators G-Chan, Dominic, and Ultra Num here as contributing to the...
Thank God. Thank God I didn't get lumped in with these rejects, dude. Thank God. I am not on King Dodo's side. I do not approve of anything that he is doing. Unless he actually provides evidence of a crime. And then, in which case, I'll look at it. But still, yeah.
Since the PU files started to become relevant, one of them about myself and Kamui, and like CLAYMANYO, did not make any mention of any authority figure outside of online peer pressure as a solution. However, I am not surprised by this. One look at his channel makes it clear that this is not a person that speaks from good faith, and I do not feel the need to elaborate on that more than these images on screen.
Oh,
I have no desire to show
thank
here.
God. Thank God Frey didn't show my thumbnails.
Comment sections clearly show that most of the people that watch his videos also fervently disagree, and one of the reasons I was hesitant to make this statement at all, as I consider them a grifter as described by the definition currently on screen. And one of the reasons I was hesitant to make this statement at all, as I consider them a grifter as described by the definition currently on screen. I would also like to take this as an opportunity to mention that if you'd like to prevent yourself from seeing someone's content or stem their reach, the easiest way to do this is by clicking the Don't Recommend Channel button. Whenever I state that I don't believe a creator should be harassed, please understand I'm implicitly stating that taking this action is the better choice. However, King Dodo's actions are quite relevant insofar as he has been assisting the other members of this harassment campaign. After his 2 videos on the topic, he made a community post stating that he intends to create a video that would slander absolute white residents, which I am running this year. Of course, if this was all about him making another video about something related to me, I would ignore it. To be noted known on the internet is to be constantly criticized by people you do not know. However, despite the fact that he has stated that APR is just a pretense for him, he was approached by Demimnik, who is someone who formerly participated in APR and was part of a server of people who remained friends after the original event in 2024. Before leaving the server, Demimnik downloaded the logs of every conversation that was had within that server and offered it to King Dodo to assist with his video. I assume this was done before the major expose announcement was made, as he mentions having an informant. This was Dem. Also note that throughout this video, you may see Discord logs of messages from the several servers where this harassment campaign has been mentioned or planned, and due to the way they are formatted, those logs are meant to be read from bottom to top, rather than top to bottom, which these two and several others would then talk about how to go about making this video in Ultranum Here's server, which is named The Barbershop. There are many screenshots worth noting, so feel free to pause through to read them. After some time, though, they would recognize this was not the most secure spot to speak about slandering creators, and instead chose to move to Dodo's own server, The Refraction Ensemble. Through the process, they would invite several other relevant people who will get their own section, including a disgruntled creator named G-Chan and a former APR member named Loader, also known by Impending_Day, who also happens to be
Thank God they never asked me to join, because I would have said no, and that they would have made a whole video about me.
They also reached out to a moderator of the Project Moon Community Hub Discord server named Hakoto in an effort to break their partnership with APR and to ban another prominently trans creator, Arcangela, from it. At the time of writing, the ban was intended to be made by framing Arcangela as a groomer and then getting Hakoto to convince the management and admin team of Project Moon Community Hub to ban her, and then using the attention.
There's something weird about, like, there can't be this many groomers. Like, there just can't be. Oh, there's Uzi. Yeah, if you switch to live chat, you can see Uzi. I see Uzi. I see. We speak your name, Uzi. We speak your name. There's gotta be, like, if you're finding this many groomers, you're either making the shit up, or, like, we have, like, a systemic, serious problem. And I'm starting to think that maybe I feel like we might just be calling people groomers just for the fun. Like, we're just, like, people are just having fun. Like, they're just gonna label somebody a groomer that they disagree with and then make a whole campaign about them. And then if you don't agree with it, then you're the asshole. Like,
time of writing, there are about 40 people in the Refraction Ensemble server, and the contributors in or out of the server include about 9 mods, creators, or otherwise noteworthy parties. And the only reason that myself and those helping me made this video know this is because one of the people in this server, who will remain anonymous, decided to reach out and inform us on what was happening in real time. This is how we have so many screenshots of their conversations and evidence to show their intentions. I appreciate the efforts this person has made and will respect their anonymity. Throughout this process, we would learn that the plan they had was to have Dem, in his words, conspire against APR and create a large script about his experience with the creators in it.
How dumb do you gotta be to post all of your plans online? Like, plan on getting a job.
To reach out to people that already did not like Project Moon, the creators that made content for it, APR, and outright International itself. Dem's document would then be used as a large reference for King Dodo's video on this after it was completed, and G-Chan would make a video first in order to spread the word. While I have no intention of...
every piece of evidence I see of, like, Dodo, like, saying that APR is bad, it's literally just him saying APR is bad, we need to do something about it. I never see any actual allegation being made. I don't see any, like, oh, they're holding children down in a basement. They're putting cigarettes out on the kids' foreheads. They're abducting. I don't see any of that. It's just, they bad. God, get rid of. Be good.
Viewing or responding to any of the videos that come out, I would rather get back to my life and don't consider them any real concern. This, combined with my past experiences with Demimnik, is where I considered him to be...
But this is why cops don't listen to anything that happens online, because they're just like, it's just some idiot just saying, these people bad, me good. So it's why nothing changes, because people just get used to just how every drama is just dumb and pointless, and they just think that anything that happens is just dumb and pointless drama, so they just don't say anything about it because they just assume that it's just like the last dumb pointless drama.
And chose to take action in specifically reviewing his, Ultranum's, and G-Chan's claims. Also, for transparency's sake, Ultranum here did not join the Refraction Ensemble server, but both agreed to promote King Dodo's video and use his banning from APR for harassment as ammo for it. Around this time, this is also where we ever decided it would be a good idea to give some response on the entire Pew matter, so we assisted him with making some kind of community post that was accurate and would help give him some comfort. Dem then took it upon himself to not only reply, but would use his Reddit account to post his own main document against Kamwi's post and my lack of response, both of which have been refuted by points I have previously made in this video. But clearly, Dem is not above downloading and sharing logs of conversations in a private server with
What are we doing? Like,
dozen people that also contain very personal information that they said thinking they were in trusting company. As such, I have low expectations on the quality of his arguments, and I will leave my personal thoughts on anything else related to this for the end of the video. I do want to say that the anonymous source provided logs in their server of some folks that handled the PU document, saying that they wanted nothing to do with these guys, and the creator of the document replied to Kamwi's community post. This is the means through which I learned it indeed was children and not adults intending to do well through a poor execution. And
like, literally all I did was make one video and move on. Like, if you want to say that, like, is that even really considered drama farming? Like, I don't think it's considered farming unless you do it over and over and over and over and over again. I made one video and I said my piece and then I moved on. These guys have been on Discord for a year doing this shit, putting out their plans and planning. It's just like, what the f? And then still nothing happened. Like Dodo never released his video. Like,
led by people that instead wanted to fulfill their own grudges or power fantasies and would rather turn this into a harassment campaign using the situation as a moral pretense and nothing more. This is when I chose to look more into this myself, found the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and reached out to 2 members of that group. We agreed that I would be willing to speak with them only about filling out the NCMEC's tip line form. They apologized, and I would again like to reiterate, I hold no grudges. However, and I acknowledge I've been quite repetitive with this, any concerned party or creator that chose to get involved could have saved
I like how people in the chat are like, guys, he's not a drama YouTuber. He's a slop YouTuber. Get it right.
trouble by doing a Google search to find the proper authorities. Just because this series of events resulted in the kids getting the tools they would need does not justify them taking these actions. That rationale
You're about to make at least 2 more videos about it, so there will be drama farming.
Same as saying that you were justified in breaking down the wall of your house to go outside when the front door was right there. So I do not want to hear anyone saying that this was the right way to go about it because of the end result. We have now addressed everything about the PU situation and can move on to discussing Demimnik and everyone else's actions. Content warning, harassment, doxing, death threats, child abuse,
oh my
slurs, and explicit
god,
material depicting minors. Let me just start by saying I am nowhere near—
my god, we still have like 30 more minutes of this before I'm supposed to cut this off and move on.
You're done telling people to not harass these or any other creator. But if anything you see makes you upset, please instead excuse yourself—
Thank you again, Uzi. Thank you. Please stay a changed man
from anything they make and click the do not recommend channel button on YouTube or whatever equivalent there is on other social media. The reason I say this will be clear soon. Now then,
by the way, the don't recommend channel thing kinda doesn't work, because the second you watch content related to somebody else, like the way that it is in the algorithm, if you like watch a video and the person is talking about somebody else, sometimes it just like puts that person back into your algorithm anyway. Or if you click on that person's video by mistake, even though it said don't recommend, YouTube's like, oh, okay, like maybe they changed their mind, and then they start recommending them to you again.
Demimnik is a person I would generously call a very invested fan of Project Hoon's content that has associated himself with fans and Project Hoon content creators since well before the days of Limbus Company. Note that he does have a YouTube channel, but is not a career creator himself, nor does he intend to be. Other than serial harasser, I cannot say I know exactly what term to use to explain his behavior, other than perhaps the term internet crusader or aspiring vigilante. And I say this because, counting his current efforts, he's now been deeply invested in at least 3 troubling incidents related to Project Hoon fans that I am aware of. This section will discuss every incident I've known him to be involved in. I first met Dem during May of 2023 while working with another creator named Yokumi. At the time, I was getting my video editing business off the ground and working as the editor of Yokumi's then weekly series called Will of the Wednesday, which was a series that talked about the usual Limbus updates, framed in the style of a 10-minute news show. To give you a sense of how long ago that was, Kanto 4 had just released.
I just love how Frey mentioned that they have a part-time job and they're doing editing work and all this stuff on the side, and there's just a bunch of unemployed bums just sitting on the internet like, let's take them down, it's our turn, let's get them.
Only just posted my first Limbus Company essay and was at under 2K subscribers and wasn't in touch with any creator other than Yokumi. And during this time, Project Hoon's Limbus Company English translation team was going through their own incident. At the time, a group of dedicated fans of Project Hoon's previous games called the Cool Kids Club were the official team translating Limbus Company into English. That included, among others, 2 people that went by the names Casual Watson and Neat Penguin. Casual Watson was the most prominent member of this group and had recently undertaken—
and we found out that he got doxxed and harassed and he had to quit Project Moon because of this shit.
In the job of translating Limbus Company's Kanto 4, which was the longest update to the story to date by a wide margin. Sometime in late May, Yokumi was reached out to by Demimnik, who had asked him to assist with making a Will of the Wednesday style video about concerns regarding Casual Watson shirking his translation work. Dem then invited Yokumi and myself to a group chat about this to give us more information, in which we learned that he was working with a larger group of people in a server called Before Dark to gather examples of Watson making mistakes, typos, and taking liberty with the localization of Limbus Company. In this, Dem claimed he wanted to ensure that Limbus Company's dialogue would not, in his words, end up like Honkai Star Rail, where they reference a bunch of memes like Rick Astley, the Metaverse, Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, and—
That's the point. Honkai Star Rail is full of references. It's kind of the point. You're supposed to snap your finger and go, I know that. I know that. It's the whole point. You're telling me that this guy wanted to die on the hill that we shouldn't have references in video games? I could understand like when people are just like, they made it woke, they made it political. Oh my god. But this isn't political. This isn't woke. This is fun. Like,
Whatever this is. And if you're watching this and don't really have an idea of what this is about, this happened around the time Dante was written to use the phrase, "aw shuckaroonies." By all accounts, this was a non-issue. Yes, we can confirm that there were examples of typos, but these days, we just make our 300 lunacy jokes and move on. In 2023, though, I didn't know this at first, but we would come to realize that Dem was complicit in creating a harassment campaign against Watson over this. To be clear, Yokomi and I realized what was happening midway through the project and then immediately stopped trusting Dem or anyone he introduced me to. We would then work towards finding some...
If I would have known that the people behind this were trying to remove popular references from Honkai Star Rail, I wouldn't have fucking believed a fucking thing that they said either.
Countermeasure, as Dem was planning to create a video with a second creator in order to share his flavor of criticism. We will go over this more later, but this criticism would eventually result in Watson's sensitive information being
and yeah, like I said, like when they have like the localizers that like will take a completely normal script and then they'll just throw in something about like white fragility or like the patriarchy. Like everyone's just like, oh god, what the fuck? Like there's no way that was in the original script. Like what are you doing? But just throwing in some references to popular things that everybody jokes about, like that's harmless.
And him receiving physical assault and death threats in general. I repeat, this was over typos and localization choices. What Yokomi and I instead did was only give Dem enough information to be placated and made it a point to tell him as little as possible.
They're feeding him bullshit information now? Like, that's incredible.
However, Yokomi did make a public post stating that they were going to cover the casual Watson subject matter in a video, and in the process of trying to find more information, I replied to a comment on a previous video of mine from someone who offhandedly mentioned they worked on the translation for Limbus and asked for their opinion. Luckily enough, I received another response from someone who claimed to be an associate of Watson asking us to stop, believing that we were fully on board with what Dem wanted us to do. I took this as a chance to reply to the said comment to offer to speak with them in private, which led to talking over Discord. I then deleted the comment for their privacy and continued to get their side of the story. We made every effort we could to prevent Dem from learning about this, solely for the sake of not letting Dem have any reason to believe we were going to make a more balanced video that explained that there are criticisms, but that Watson was genuinely being harassed. We made this choice because, since we were talking about an employee that was at the time a public figure, Yokomi and I were concerned about doing something that could get us sued for libel by being involved in the first place. And after speaking with someone separate from the entire matter about how to avoid libel, they suggested we stay hands-off and frame it as presenting both sides, but also make a call to action that prevents harassment at the end. The effort also felt necessary because, again, Dem reached out to a second creator who was willing to make a video closer to the tone he asked for. So if we did not act, Dem's message would be the only one that was going out to the public. Now, since then, I have rewatched the video Yokomi and I made for the sake of refamiliarizing myself with the situation after 3 years, and linked it in the description below for evidence. In the end, Yokomi and I worked almost an all-nighter to finish getting all of the statements and release the video in order to have this done before the other creator. While both of our reaches were small in comparison to what the average Project Moon creator reaches now, we were concerned that people would behave based on which video came out first. In retrospect, this was a naive way to think we could make a positive change, as the harassment was already well underway. And despite these efforts, I personally don't believe we made any difference whatsoever. All it served to do was cause Yokomi to get scrutiny from the Before Dark server for this. I should also mention to anyone that watches this video, there is a section where we're giving Watson's side of the story, and they say that they asked us to...
That is a I'm terrified.
Not make a video on the topic. Now, the video clarifies that we did get permission to continue on it after that request, but only a minute later. So I didn't do myself any favors by not correcting that immediately afterwards, so I'm doing that for all our sakes now. But the fact remains, we always made sure anything that—
What the fuck is this? What the fuck? What is this jump scare? Ew! This game
up was only with the approval of our contact with Watson. This is why—
Don't ever put this on my screen ever again.
At their request, we would later blur out any statements made by that contact, and eventually, Yokomi would private the video based on his own preference. Of course, the video is now just unlisted as it's being used as evidence. In the end, though, Watson still suffered. To show the extent of the harassment, I'm going to put up Dem's apology for his actions that he intended to send to Watson. Here, he openly admits that not only did he cyberstalk Watson, but he, while claiming it was
Imagine admitting to cyberstalking. Why would you ever, even if you were doing it, why would you admit to it?
Intentional, did indeed reveal Watson's private information and—
Yes, I would like to tell everybody that, yes, I am a stalker. I like to stalk. I stalk a lot. Like, what?
Attributed to the threats of physical assault, as well as threats on his life. This led Watson to remove all of his social media presence and effectively go into hiding. And not long after this, Watson would make a statement talking about stepping down from his position as a translator and localizer. Later on, Dem has said he takes ownership of this, that he is sorry, that he will do better, and months later that he will, in his words, leave this community for good. Keep this in mind, because Dem would then go on to—
All you had to do was just do nothing. You just do nothing and win, is my motto.
Get involved in more incidents and have more grievances and repeat the statement several times, which I will bring up as they come. Regardless, I wanted nothing to do with Dem after this. Yokomi was still the only person I knew that made Project Moon content, and this entire incident set poorly with them, enough to feel disgusted engaging with it. To put it in perspective, Yokomi has still not completed anything after Kanto 4 of Limbus Company because of this. I also moved on, as I recognized that my personal savings were starting to get dangerously low, and I needed to prioritize being a video editor. Before I go further though, I would like to say that I did eventually meet many, many sweet, creative, and responsible people that are other Project Moon creators. What I'm discussing here is
And I'm not one of them. Oh, no.
some of the darkest and most upsetting parts of my time engaging with other creators and fans of this media in general. And while I do believe in the phrase, a few bad apples ruin the whole bunch, the entire purpose of this video is to call out actions like this and provide more solutions to help creators prevent and protect themselves from these issues shown in the second video. Furthermore, when I say I do not want anyone to retaliate against or otherwise harass these creators, please know this incident with Watson is why I mean that and know what it can do to a person. Just stop engaging with them. Don't harass them, please. Again, I speak about the value of not giving people more attention than necessary in the second video.
I wonder if Dodo's gonna still release his video now. It's gonna be a 3-hour video now. He's gonna have to respond to this entire video. It's gonna be a 6-hour video.
Guide. Clearly, what's happening here is an unfortunate exception to that rule.
I ain't watching it. I ain't watching it.
While Yokumi and I were dealing with the Watson event, though, Dem was speaking with another creator, Sunil, who happens to be a
Oh
friend and
god,
creator
trying to pull Sunil into this.
that I trust. And May of 2023 is when they first began to talk. Here is Sunil's statement on how he came to know Dominic. In short, this was around the time Dem started complaining about
It just
casual Watson.
disappeared.
Unlike myself and Yokumi, though, Sunil was removed
The message disappeared. The message is not on screen. We can't read it.
from a lot of what Dem had said and done in the situation. All he received was a few messages from Dem in DMs about his
Oh,
frustration with Watson and would
no.
only receive any admission from Dem that he
The editing error. No.
Dem started 2023 is when they first began to talk. Here is Sunil's statement on how
Okay, I met them. I'm not reading all. You know what?
In short, this was around the time Dem started complaining about
Just let Frey give us the
casual Watson.
rundown.
Unlike myself and Yokumi, though, Sunil was removed from a lot of what Dem had said and done in the situation. All he received was a few messages from Dem in DMs about his frustration with Watson and would only receive any admission from Dem that he contributed to Watson's doxing much, much later.
I met Dem May of 2023, and at that moment, the only time he mentioned Watson was him saying he didn't like his translations and thought he was lazy, of which I genuinely did not give a damn because I was just happy people were translating the game. Looking back, this was probably his attempt to rope me into his crusade against Watson, but since we were at best acquaintances and I didn't care about the situation, he didn't try to press further. We only became friends when someone recommended him to mod my Discord as he knew how to help set them up, and it wasn't until I believe about a year later when I learned some general stuff about the Watson situation. But at that time, the only understanding I had was that a different group contributing to the doc was one that harassed Watson the most, and someone else did the accidental doxing by giving Dem a link to Watson's archived Twitter, and Dem, not double checking it, linked it in his call-out doc. Though Dem felt
Look at Lunazi in the chat. Look what you've done, Clay. You've destroyed the Project Moon community. Motherfucker, if anything, you destroyed the community. How about that? I wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for you.
bad as it was still his doc that did it, and when I received that limited
What do you mean Lunazi's so true? What the fuck? Why are you booing me? I'm right.
knowledge, he was very remorseful about it and was reaching out to parties to try and apologize for what he did.
Even my own people backstab. You too, very fair. You too.
So I decided not to cut him off, as I actually thought he was trying to change from past mistakes, which at the time I thought was a one-time thing. I did not expect this to actually just be common with him. So I said this to him. I will say that, from my personal perspective, you did some messed up stuff in that situation, like accidentally doxing Watson, but I don't know too much of the situation. Though, if you still have worries, then you may want to message them directly and apologize. That's the first step in moving forward. Then when I found out situations like this are common for them, it's around when I started to become fairly distrustful of him, and then it eventually came to the moment where I found out he hasn't progressed at all as a person since the Watson situation, and I cut him out of my life completely. I think people can change, and I was hoping Dem would. At one time I thought he did, but now I know that's just not the case at all.
I can't believe Clay forced I want Lunazi to ask Clay to interact with the drama.
I do not have any regrets cutting him off. I only have the regret of giving him a platform, as he viewed it as a way to further engage in drama, as that gave him thrill in life.
Sunil also attempted to help Dem with his anger issues, which
He has nothing but his drama, and he must. He has nothing but his drama, and he wants nothing more.
were relevant in another matter. I've received permission from Sunil to paraphrase his involvement on his behalf. During July of 2023, Project Moon would part ways with one of its artists who went by the handle Velmori. This led to a series of incidents that
That's the whole swimsuit or the wetsuit people. Man, dude.
I'm going to call the Velmori incident. These events caused a great amount of frustrated responses in fans of Project Moon, and I will not be
All of the drama revolving around Limbus Company is dumb and pointless and stupid. And I guess that's I guess that's like a positive for the game, that the game's so good that the drama sucks. Even a game, and here's the thing, the game barely has any content. There's no new story for 6 months at a time, maybe 8 months. And yet the drama is still just like the worst drama that you're like, the laziest drama that you've ever seen.
elaborating further on the incident beyond this. My reasoning is that it is much too complex, and the specifics beyond what I have already stated are largely irrelevant.
It's dumb and pointless and stupid. Why are you watching? That's exactly why we're watching it, very fair.
This video. I will link Sunil's video on the topic in the description, as I personally consider that the most accurate retelling of the events, but if anyone would rather listen to a creator that has no involvement in what we're discussing in this video, I've linked 2 essays that cover the topic by a channel named Moon Channel.
Not the gender war.
Please just know that while their essays are well made, they are ultimately on a separate matter than what Sunil's video addresses. Use your best judgment. Regardless, Sunil would still scold Dem for his public responses on his Twitter during during the Valmori incident in order to stop him from allowing other people's opinions on the internet to get to him. It's also worth noting that since then, Dem has deleted his Twitter. Note, this is another instance where Dem says he is leaving drama and the community for good. Still, this is a major reason why I would eventually come back into contact with Dem. I would not interact with Dem again until 2024. Around that time, a post had gone around ranking how close each known creator at the time was to Distorting and Deco, and I made some posts of my own about how I was interested in reaching out to more creators as a means to make some friends. Several people saw this response and reached out, which led me to interacting with Dem again. This came in the form of—
Yeah, I noticed the art change like pretty early in Limbus Company, and I was just like, oh yeah, why did the art change? And then I was just like, oh, it was some bullshit about some people were pissed off about the wetsuit, and I was just like, how could you be mad about the wetsuit? The wetsuit's awesome. Are people stupid?
I have a new friend who will remain anonymous, inviting me to join a server with several dozen Project Moon creators that Dem hosted. As far as I understand, I've either been banned from that server or it's been deleted, so unfortunately I cannot provide any screenshots of it. At the time though, Dem's actions during the Watson incident and responses to the Valmori incident had me, again, to not want anything to do with him. However, that same new friend assured me that he seemed to have changed and that we could watch out for any—
When are you gonna shift this drama into some random politics? The only way that I would ever cover politics is by making fun of both sides. Because I don't believe in just randomly subscribing to one side when people are just dumb. Like, there's no point in tying yourself to one side when that side can be wrong and you're not allowed to say anything about it because you're a part of that side now.
problematic behaviors. And granted, this is how I came to meet other folks I've known for a long time since, like Sunil and Wellevator. To put my mind more at ease, I had a chance to speak with Sunil on my concerns about Dem's past actions with Watson and Valmori, and he said that he probably—
That's not true. You watched Body Blue a year ago. Clay did what?
scolded him about the Valmori situation, and that he's been acting more responsibly ever since. While initially hesitant, I wanted to believe that a person could change, and had several people telling me that it was indeed possible and happening. Neither Sunil nor this other anonymous friend I just met had known Dem well during the Watson incident, so it makes sense they would be more optimistic than myself or Yokami. And to everyone's credit, that optimism proved to be right for some—
Oh my god, look at that is some adorable art. Is that— what the fuck are they doing with my wife? Those bastards! Oh, I'm taking a— No, I'm not gonna—
By May of 2024,
I'm not gonna make that joke.
spent some time with several of the creators, predominantly Yokami, Sunil, and Wellevator, and we recognized that the summer of 2023 was not a fun time to be
APR has gone too far.
a fan of Project Moon or Limbus Company due to the aforementioned controversies that took place. Because of this, we thought it would be a fun idea to make a Pride Month charity stream between the creators because there hadn't really been any sign of major collaborations between anyone that made content about the games, and we felt this was a chance to combat this perception we felt of Project Moon fans being insular, elitist, and at times just plain unpleasant to be around. Again, something that was made worse by those controversies. It would be a chance to give fans of Project Moon something to look forward to as a clean event and positive example of what its creators were capable of, especially in contrast to last year. And as we'll discuss later, Dem will come to interpret this want to have an event that has a positive impact as the creators involved having an obsession with
Why is this guy still here? We thought— didn't you leave 3 times?
optics. This idea of making an event to support Outright International, a charity that promotes LGBTQ plus welfare around the globe, would very quickly balloon from the idea of just being one stream to involving 24 creators and artists. Seeing the number of people involved, we changed the plan from a single stream to a month-long event, which led to the first fundraiser we now know as Absolute Pride Resonance, or APR for short. During that time, I took on the responsibility of being the sole manager for APR 2024. It was enough effort that I became quite stressed and even struggled to sleep and eat during those events. And by the time we got into June, I was anxious enough that I had only wanted to step away from the project as all of my efforts were all in the management, and I was already having a hard time participating in any of the streams I promised. Dem then volunteered to be the anonymous replacement for me, and indeed did manage the rest of APR 2024 in my stead with no issues I have to speak of. Admittedly, while his job was only ensuring the structure that I put in place would stay intact for the rest of the month, his actions gave me some well-placed reassurance. This contributed to the idea that he was indeed improving and was someone I could trust. APR eventually ended, and we would end up raising significantly more than our original goal of $10,000. At this time, the plan was to close the server since it fulfilled its original purpose, but considering that a lot of the creators make new friendships here, and many folks that were in the APR server were not in the creator server, keep it open as a casual hangout server until we decided whether to make this an annual event, which we eventually did. What I did not expect was that Dem would come to view and treat this server as a governing body for anything noteworthy that happens with Project Moon fans and creators, and in some cases a tool that—
Clay, you weren't invited. You scared them of getting canceled.
I did winners and losers. That being said, for the rest of 2024, there was no trouble to speak of regarding Dem. While he did show signs of insecurities, they felt like something to help support him through, as by now, we considered him a friend. I even included him in one of my streams that eventually became a video in the following year, and asked him directly if he was comfortable with his role in it being the butt of the joke for a bet he made—
Wait, what? Wow.
And lost, to which he not only agreed, but made his own jokes in response. However, he did choose to leave the APR friend server in January of 2025 on what, based on my attempts to check on him, were good terms. By all accounts, I saw this as him recognizing he simply had other interests or wanted to be around people that weren't familiar with who he used to be. I let him know I understood where he was coming from, that he would always be welcome if he changed his mind, and wish him the best. And the feeling appeared to be mutual. Unfortunately though, Dem would soon get involved in another incident around March of 2025. I'll keep this part brief as my involvement is quite light and simple. In late 2024, a Korean modder named Kaigi, who had made several projects about Project Moon, expressed an interest in creating an event that would help bridge the English and Korean communities and was invited to the APR server to help organize it. Before much could happen, though, in March of 2025, Kaigi would be accused of grooming a minor by the staff of the Project Moon Community Hub Discord, and regardless of any other details surrounding the incident, these allegations would eventually be proven as correct as they could be outside of a court of law.
Oh,
Remember,
God.
I'm not a lawyer. However, Dem was a close friend of Kaigi and made efforts in his defense against these allegations before the full evidence for his actions came out. Being Dem's friend, I was sympathetic as he truly believed that Kaigi was innocent until it became—
It's kind of hard to fucking believe that these were the good guys when they're being found out for this shit.
clear that he was not. After that, I wanted to console someone who, at the time, was a grieving friend. Before that info came out, though, while I was skeptical, I believed that I could make a sound judgment reading the document Dem made and would only share it if it provided a burden of proof that PMC—
It's kind of like with the Tectone shit, like when Tectone was accused of being a rapist, I was like, well, I know he's an asshole, but like, sometimes women could lie. It's possible. And then he went to court and the court was like, well, you do seem like you're a psychopath. And then he was like, yeah, well, listen, I have to do what I have to. I pretend to be conservative online and I'm a grifter and I have to, and listen, like, maybe that's just, and it's like, okay, so you're lying about your political beliefs. Like maybe you're also lying about other things like, okay, I don't know why you would admit that in court, but okay.
PH would have to correct. And I eventually did come to that conclusion, and I shared it. Then, later, when the Project Moon Community Hub team would release their own statement proving that Kaigi was indeed—
And it's like, you wanna believe that a person is innocent? But like, if it comes out that they're not innocent, you have to immediately be like, all right, God fucking damn it. All right, I disavow.
And I said earlier, of what he was accused of and accounted for Dem's statements, I also shared PMCH's response in the same way I shared Dem's. But frankly, I wish I never got involved in the first place. In fact, I hope anyone watching this can understand why I've grown to be so hesitant on—
Your Honor, I have to be a psycho to make a living.
getting involved at all in these matters going forward, as my input was absolutely—
That's like a hitman going to jail, and before he goes to jail, Your Honor, I had to make a living. I have kids. I had to—
unnecessary, and outside of consoling a friend, this matter was none of my business. Once again, if you come across anything you believe is evidence of the exploitation of minors, do not involve a content creator. Contact the authorities, and a link to the NCMEC tip line is in the description. Regardless,
it's amazing how all of this goes back to a translator and an artist. Like,
made the choice to remove Kaigi from the APR server before Dem released his public statement. Dem has since taken issue with that, seeing my choice as one made for optics and no other reason, but frankly, I don't believe I need to spend much time defending myself. Kaigi was proven, beyond any reasonable doubt I have, to have engaged in the acts he was accused of, period. And I have every right to not want to associate with someone like this. Suggesting that I have an obligation to do otherwise is just ridiculous. I assume that most people understand this. The current Demimnik, though, notably does not. Kaigi would later reach out to me in August of 2025 to invite me to another event. As a reminder, I had spoken with him initially about handling a project before this incident started, so this wasn't—
By the way, I watched this during my one day in vacation. This soured my mood because I'm scared that I might have been shown in the video. I like how Lunasi was the one that he was like the biggest name to talk about this shit, and I'm the one who gets called out for talking about it. This is bullshit.
DM'd each other. But while I responded in a friendly manner to him, as he is ESL, English is his second language, and I found that tone is the best way to bridge communication barriers, I left a non-committal response and said that I did not believe that it was a good idea for him to associate with the community going forward. Dem would respond—
oh my God, Suppressed is calling out Lunasi. I want Lunasi. I'm going to be honest. You were an idiot from the start, but due to your very long accent, you couldn't really do anything for a long time in regards to what the fuck is he talking about?
positively in my DM.
What the fuck is Suppressed talking about?
Say that Kaigi is wrong for rejecting my message, and then again—
Clay took the bullet for me.
And say he's leaving the community again. Apparently, though, this was not true, as Dem has now claimed within Ultranum's server that I cared way too much about keeping APR looking clean and that Kaigi was not justified in his removal. While he has other grievances, this is one grudge he is strongly held onto. From here on, I wouldn't speak with Dem, and also largely stopped speaking with nearly every other friend I had made in APR. Now, this wasn't due to any major falling out, but because I experienced a major life event in January of 2025 that put my ability to stay housed into question for some time, and my focus just had to move elsewhere. To be frank, my long-term ability to remain housed is still in question, though to a lesser degree. But like I said in the intro, Dem already plans to make my issues public.
I like how I literally just said I don't know what the Suppressed is talking about. It doesn't make any sense. And Kismet goes, spit your shit, Suppressed. Go ahead, tell him, King. Like, what?
So I'll save that for a more personal channel update video later. Also, I'm gonna take this chance to apologize if I sound generally frustrated throughout all of this. Again, I'm not a drama creator, and
I thought Frey was just like flexing, like Frey was just flexing on the people that they've just been setting on fire for the last hour and 13 minutes.
Don't like being in this. We put a lot of effort into making sure that the info out here is accurate, so I'm giving myself a bit of grace on not sounding emotionless. Later that year, Dem would then block the accounts of several APR members, including myself. To some, he would send a message suggesting that we manipulated him in some way and then stopped speaking. While it was—
It's amazing that they had so much patience for this guy.
Including myself. To some, he would send a message suggesting that—
Like, they were talking to this guy for the longest time. Like I've never had a DM with anyone in APR.
that we manipulated him in some way and then stopped speaking. While it was concerning for people who considered him a friend to see this, I wouldn't say that this was inherent. To myself and others, we saw this as a reason to detach from him and respect his space. Months later, he would then send another message to several of those folks apologizing for that exit, including myself. But by then, myself and several others had moved on and grown tired of Dem vaguely mentioning something ominous to them.
It's amazing that like you can get invited into these people's like inner circle and they're talking to you and they're putting you in their videos, and then you still just like turn around and you backstab them on some bullshit.
And some were understandably betrayed at being called a bad friend from out of the blue. Beyond this, all we knew was that Dem would go on to work full-time for Predwin, which is a database and wiki for Limbus Company, and we just thought...
Not just for Limbus Company. I'm going to correct Frey here. It's for multiple games.
Everyone was going to go on with their lives.
That's right, Frey. This is my video.
This would be the last interaction myself and many of my friends would have with Dem. Outside of that, we would talk every so often. I have a few DMs with him from as early as this year, but I also wanted to keep my distance from him.
Oh my god, we didn't even get into Ultranum.
Behavior, and because I just, in general, have had reasons to be less open with people in 2026. I wasn't responsive to him at times, but when we did speak, all seemed normal. Of course, now I know that's not the case. Dem has decided to take part in this refraction ensemble effort with his own grievances of mine and other creators' actions, and only through advanced knowledge did myself and those other creators come to understand what those grievances.
Clay, just admit that you're the box 2 of Limbus Company. How? I like box 2.
Are. It's here that I would now like to move on.
Remember when he said he did? Remember when they asked him what state he was in and he didn't understand the question? They were like, what state are you in? Like, are you in Texas right now? Or are you in like South Dakota? And he was just like, state. And they were like, yeah, what state are you currently standing in? Where are you right now? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know what state I'm in. That was incredible.
Main arguments that all of the collaborators on this video believe Dem and these other creators have and intend to use to slander us and invite people that aren't even fans of Project Moon to harass folks. While I trust the viewer to come to their own conclusion, I'm confident enough in these arguments that by the end, I feel assured you will see how flawed they are. Let's begin. Part 4, Demeanic. Content warnings for transphobia, allegations of child abuse, mentions of explicit material, harassment, and various mentions of assault. We'll start with Dem's accusation.
Oh my god, wait a minute. That was just the lore. That was all just the lore. I thought it was over. I thought we were just introducing the guy so that we know, like, okay, this is the guy, he's backstabbing and he's working with King Dodo. There's still a whole nother section of what oh my god, that was the prologue. Oh, and then there's Ultranum, and then G-Chan. I like how King Dodo gets the smallest portion. They're like, yeah, and then King Dodo kind of just like took all of this shit and made it, he was the spearhead, and then we just kind of squashed him like the Blue Ensemble, and that's just kind of the end of it. We have to check this wiki. Apparently, it's been updated since we started the stream. I don't know what could be possibly updated. What is this? Photo proof. What the? Video proof of Clay being gay? Sorry for small size. Click. What is this? Full screen? Jake, keep going. Oh, not that. Not that. What? God damn it. I was playing Lobotomy Corporation, okay? I want chaos. Clay wants to eat a gay hamburger. Clay made baby with Zombie King. That's how Plants vs. Zombies was made? Clay had cat ears on a past stream. Clay is a LARPer. How wild. Clay only has 14.5. Hey, I got 14.5 subs. That is more than Hopper's 117 sub. I don't know how that... Clay, I don't play Roblox. Clay robbed a bank. Clay sounds gay. Clay had a dream about getting piped. Wand of the Undead is a cool guy. Who the fuck is that? All right, on a real notice, how's your day been, Clay? Thank you. My day has been okay. It's been grand and glorious. Clay got cracked by 5 femboys at once. Clay has I don't have a secret. Femboy, I'm not gay. I'm not emo. We have Masters is real. Clay saw Femboy Sinclair IRL and cracked. Clay, when he saw Femboy Sinclair, they cracked. No, we didn't. Both Sinclair X Hong Lu was sent by Fantastic New. Clay said that people are cracking him. If you need any more info, god damn it, Hopper. For Clay, I'm updating this until you add Bochi the Rock to Stream Corner and me. You can't. I don't negotiate with terrorists. Do we watch the Ultinum? Let's watch Ultinum. Let's see what he's doing. Because this guy's been a problem apparently for a long... What the I don't want to zoom in on any of this. I don't think I should zoom in.
A misinformation campaign. It mentions accusations of child abuse, contains screenshots including suggestive and Nazi for work images posted in a server, and conversations from Ultranum server. Now, after all I have found over the past couple of weeks, working with over 10 people to look into everything that's happened recently, I have to agree that I'm not fond of the culture that Ultranum has cultivated in his server. He allows explicit art, including art of underage characters, to be posted in general, and has used
when we had the server for 2 seconds, people were like, hey, can we have a channel where we post porn? And I was like, no, you cannot. No, you cannot. I got so tired of telling people no that I was like, I'm not part of this anymore. I'm done. I'm deleting. Let's delete the Discord. We're never doing this again.
to direct his members to harass other creators. None of this is anything that I am fond of, nor anything I intend to justify. And if the accusation the people behind this image were making was about any of these statements and had the level of concrete evidence that we do, then I would not have any reason to correct it. However, the fact remains that the evidence shown here does not show proof of Ultranum abusing children whatsoever, as he maintains this is an 18+ server. Now, I still don't like it at all, but if I'm trying to prevent misinformation, the least I can do is make sure that the accusations I advocate for in this video are ones that I can prove. Because of that, I will now prove that Ultranum has encouraged King Dodo to harass at least 2 creators, Kamui Ever and Meat, does not enforce his own rule of banning explicit images of underage characters in his server, has allowed—
Yeah, you can't just make a rules list and then don't abide by the rules and say, well, I have a rules list. I mean, I put it up there. Like, yeah, but if you don't enforce it, then it doesn't matter.
Dem, King Dodo, and others to organize their efforts to slander myself, other creators, and APR, and has a motive to allow this video to come out, as it will allow him to lie about these actions. We'll start with the harassment. In April of 2026, I was approached by Kamui Ever in DMs with him saying that he was being harassed by members of Ultranum here's server, and that Ultranum was enabling it. Kamui went on to say that he waited a few months to speak on it because he knew APR was coming up. He believed that if he didn't say anything, he might go off on Ultranum if they had to interact. As someone who didn't want that to happen, we want peace while running a fundraising campaign, I asked Kamui for any evidence he had, since that was a serious claim. He then sent me 9 screenshots that I will show on screen now. This includes messages of King Dodo saying that he's in Kamui's server and sending several images meant to upset others or to attempt a, quote, ban speedrun. These images from the screenshots include Cromer dressed in a hate troop outfit from, let's say, 1930s America, as well as whitewashed images of Zilu. The Zilu images were specifically sent at Ultranum's request. In addition, Kamui provided an image of a—
There's a lot of, apparently there's a trend on Twitter where if there's a white character, people will make it black and say, fix that for you. And it's like a racist thing, like, oh, white people are bad and we gotta replace them with black people. And then, like, you don't just, like, take that as, like, oh, hey, they're rage baiting. Some people are like, oh, yeah, well, then I'll take your black character and I'll make it white. And it's like, or you could just get the fuck off of Twitter. Who gives a f?
Another creator, Meat, saying that someone had been sending people into her Discord server to threaten assault on her moderators and sling slurs. Now, I do need to tell you that due to the fact that I do not have a means to contact Meat,
like, people think like, oh, somebody said something racist, so I'll say something racist back. That'll really piss off the kids. No, they're never gonna change their mind. And like, if somebody hits you with racism and you hit them back with more racism, they just go, okay, well then we'll just keep hitting each other with racism. It's like, it doesn't change anything.
Cannot confirm that Ultranum is the creator who has been doing this, but I do have evidence, including Ultranum's not written but spoken words, that strongly suggest this. I consider the threshold of there being concrete proof to there being an exact link to the person and the action. So based on this, I'm not going to call this 100% proof, so I will trust the viewer's interpretation, but we'll soon be going over an 8-minute audio file of Ultranum's arguments that just became available on July 2nd, and I at least feel confident in saying that puts the burden of proof squarely on him. Before we get to that though, I can confirm that Ultranum, as recent as June 20th of this year, has advocated that he wants King Dodo, someone who has publicly been making content about Meat, to pester her with videos every day of the year. Regardless of whether this is who Meat was talking about or whatever kind of disagreement that Meat has with Ultranum and or
Jake, if I put that on screen, it's gonna kill the stream. Like
Dodo, it's clear that Ultranum is both aware of and encourages Dodo to mess with her. Because of this evidence proving that Ultranum did not stop but directed Dodo to harass Kamui's server, I told Kamui to reach out to the managers of APR, as during the time, I was unsure if I would be participating and also hadn't been active in the APR social server for over a year, as I had, again, been dealing with my own financial issues since January of 2025. I told him that I believed this was enough evidence, and the managers agreed, which led to one of the managers making an announcement post of Ultranum being removed from APR. However, since the announcement was made publicly, and the same manager,
Vader, what?
Making an announcement.
Vader had to get involved? Oh, can't we just leave? What is he, Welsh? What is he? I don't know what nationality is. Leave our European boy alone.
Post of Ultranum being removed from APR. However, since the announcement was made publicly, and the same manager, Vader, sent Kamui's screenshots used as evidence to those who asked, those being Loader and Woman, this information made its way back to Ultranum, who would find out Kamui is the one who reported him. Before anything else, that should not have happened. Kamui approached me and the managers, trusting this be handled tactfully, and it resulted in him being dragged further into this. For that, I am sorry, and I have talked to the management team since then about how to better handle these kinds of situations, and I can tell you right now, there's already a new method in place. While we're at it, we also found that Vader incorrectly told Loader that King Dodo was Ultranum's moderator at the time. As you will soon see, Ultranum takes issue with that statement. So while I think he is owed an apology for that mistake, this ultimately does not justify or rectify Ultranum's actions in any way, nor does it make the accusations this video has on him any less credible. I'll also add on, I asked Vader and the other managers for any of their interactions related to this incident, and the only time I saw Dodo be named as Ultranum's moderator was in Vader's messages to Loader. I feel that's relevant because this is not something that was shared publicly. With that in mind though, Ultranum, I am sorry that Vader later called King Dodo your mod. After this, Ultranum made his own counter-argument on why the ban announcement was wrong and unjustified that he intends to use to contribute to Dem's video. To be clear, he didn't make this known to anyone in APR, and in the process of making this video, I am now aware of 2 different times where Ultranum made a counter-argument and will be addressing them next. We'll start with this audio file, which is an 8-minute statement from Ultranum about his thoughts on the situation. Now, to be clear, this audio file
it just amazes me how it even gets to this point. I would just be playing video games, dude. I would be playing video games. I would not be on Discord and Twitter.
Initially sent to Dem, and Ultranum gave him permission to use his banning from APR as a point in Dem's and everyone else's video, meaning it was intended to be public. Dem then knowingly sent this audio file to the DMs of one of the APR managers. This is how it came back to me, and since Ultranum's statements were given to Dem for this purpose, I see it as a reason to not consider it private info, and relevant for me to see since it's about the fundraiser. In addition, I'm getting this on the last day of handling the document before it's edited, and since the video has gone this long with only scripted segments, I may as well change up the tone and use a format that's much easier for me to run to handle something like this. Hey all, just letting you know right away, this isn't a scripted part. I'm going to be speaking mainly off the cuff. We're going to be going through the statement here, and I'll be giving context where I believe it's fitting. This, to be clear, is not any sort of a reaction style video. I have listened to this audio before. I don't want to sensationalize it like this, but this feels like the best way I can present everything, while also making sure that people have a chance to hear Ultranum's account. Again, purpose is to set the record straight. You might see some cuts if I just think I go over something over and over, but okay, I am going to let him speak. I do, again, have notes on things that I noticed, so let's begin.
I mean, my issue with this entire deal is that they're taking shit that's at this point old. Like, they're taking shit, the Kamui screenshots are literally from the rerun of the Murder on the Warp Express. That's like, what? Like October of last year?
That is correct.
Or something like that, right? Like, this is old. After that, I literally went on record saying that, hey, I don't think Kamui is like an evil person. We should maybe stop slandering him, especially considering that his titles after my callout stopped being as clickbaity. And they...
Let's talk about this for a second. So to give context, within the screenshots that I received, Kamui's understanding of why Ultranum was acting this way was because he didn't believe that Ultranum cared for his content, mainly kit reviews, mainly like, you know, being very positive or like outgoing with how IDs or ego that came out worked. What Ultranum is saying here is that he agreed that he did not like Kamui's way of handling things, but when I hear something like this, it tells me not that he stopped doing this because it's wrong. It tells me that he stopped doing this because he got what he wanted and made a YouTuber change their content through bullying him. Like, I think this statement alone doesn't prove that. I, again, am saying this after going through a lot of the information. This recording is happening, like, right at the end, so I have much more context than what has been presented so far. However, that's not really a good justification, and unfortunately, I do have evidence that shows that this continued after October 2025.
They stopped posting the Israeli Kamui image. They stopped posting the GIF of Ultranum here after...
I was really expecting the drama to be like Ultranum was doxing people, he was slandering, and so far this is really boring. Like,
Kamui, they stopped posting the shit that they made for Kamui because of my involvement, right? They didn't, like... None of these things were created because of me. Well, kind of. I mean, I said shit about Kamui having bad titles. But, like, I did stop.
We're talking about his titles? Your problem with him is his titles?
I don't think that this means what he thinks it means. I'm conflicted on using an analogy on this because I'm concerned about what is an analogy and what is a joke, and I want to treat this seriously. But to me, this says, hey, I was in a room and I noticed that I didn't like how this thing was going. So I said, hey, wouldn't it be funny if it was on fire? And then I let that happen for a while, but then I eventually stopped it. I recognize that throughout a lot of this, and you'll hear it too, that a lot of the justification is that this happened a long time ago. Just because it happened a long time ago does not mean you're not accountable for it. And just because you eventually stopped it does not mean you're not accountable for the harm it caused.
Yeah, you can't say, oh, something happened a long time ago on the internet. The internet doesn't let anything go. Like, like if you're on the internet, you should realize that. I think we're gonna save this. Thank you for following up with us this long. My people are going to riot if we don't give people a break from the drama. Literally, the only reason I have a Discord is to have a call 2 to 3 times a week. Other than that, delete your Discord. Okay, go back to sending snail mail is what I think. Is the wiki's updated again? Cigar I'm smoking. On the hit stream Claymantics, the user Nomo often smokes a big fat cigar in an awesome and cool manner. This cigar has many odd properties, such as unlimited smokability, proverbial existence, and making the smoker look cool as fuck. The cigar's history is is unknown and shrouded in smoke and mystery. Extra section. I think I'm too lazy to add more. These sections can also include listed tables. The creator of a specific page doesn't care. Item list 1, 2, 3, and 4. Smokes cigar, the smoker. Nomo smoking the cigar from Claymantic Stream. Aliases cigar and evil cigar. The Clayo extended universe, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my Christmas Christ. Why is Nomo eating a baguette?